blew a 2-0 lead at home and lost to Florida again last night, 3-2. Alexander Barkov scored the tie-breaking goal with 12:29 left. And this came after Sam Bennett tied it after seemingly pushing Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman to give himself an empty net to shoot at less than 4 minutes earlier.
Goes through me, feel a push from behind. I go down and sway, and puck trickles past and right to their guy, empty net. Figured I could probably turn around and make a play on it or clear it. And yeah, that's what happened. It's a tough call.
Bruins now trail this series 3-1. Game 5 back down in Florida tomorrow night. Vancouver beat Edmonton last night 4-3 to take a 2-1 series lead. The Celtics had last night off. They'll play in Cleveland again tonight, leading the Cavaliers 2-1. Kristaps Porzingis remains out for the Green, but the bigger story lies in the other locker room. The Cavaliers have listed Donovan Mitchell as questionable with a left calf strain. Jared Allen is also questionable again with a rib contusion. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 on the BetMGM 98.5, the Sports Hub Celtics radio network. Atlanta won the draft lottery yesterday despite only having a 3% chance to do so. The Washington Wizards will pick second and Houston third, and the Red Sox beat the Washington Nationals yesterday 3-2 at Fenway Park. Brian Bayo allowed the 2 runs in 5 innings in his return. Cutter Crawford starts for the Sox tonight as the homestand continues against Tampa Bay. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Cape Cod Lumber and CCL Homescapes. 100% employee-owned, your go-to independent lumber yard. Partner with CCL and CCL Homescapes for all your building needs right in Abington. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
This is why you need us.
98.5 The Sports Hub. In the office, in your car, in your footy pajamas, this is how Boston sports fans start their day.
I bet you're just jealous.
Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. 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 Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Let's talk about cheese.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
What the
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Welcome to the show.
You sweet Mr. Unlimited. It's Mr. Unlimited, Tom.
Family, friends, flying, football, all 4 things that I care a lot about. We're the Toucher and Hardy Show, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and subscribe. Already, would you please get us on this algorithm? If a defending player has been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player so as to cause the defending player to come into contact with his own goalkeeper, such contact shall be deemed contact initiated by the attacking player for the purpose of this rule, and if necessary, a penalty assessed to the attacking player, and if the goal is scored, it would be disallowed. Now, that's easy. I don't know why the guy from True TV, strangely enough, was tying himself in knots trying to explain away why that was allowed. I don't know if I've ever disliked someone doing play-by-play of a hockey game as much as I disliked that guy last night.
That sucked. That broadcast sucked last night, and I understand not wanting to go too deep on it if you're not sure if a penalty can be retroactively called. But if it's in direct connection to the goal, number one, shouldn't you know that going in before you call the game? And two, I was 90% sure they could have called that goalie interference. And
they could have called goalie interference.
But that's what they were guarding against on the broadcast. I don't know if you can go back and say that it was the okay, maybe not that. Okay, you can't call a penalty, but you can call goalie interference and take the goal off the board.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse. Even watching it in slow motion, how do you miss that? In real time, it was pretty obvious. And then Toronto has a chance to look at it frame by frame, and they still didn't think it was enough.
It's a cross-check in the coil who goes and falls on Swayman, and a goal is scored. It's obvious. Like, I didn't think there was any – well, I mean, me, you, the broadcasters, no one ever thought that was going to not be overturned. I mean, I'm like, okay, it's 2-1. I'm like, phew, it's 2-1. You know, Florida's really pushing them. At least now it's still 2-1. Maybe the Bruins can hang on. Swayman's playing really well. Let's see if they can hang on to this thing. But it's just ridiculous. The officiating in this game, and this show doesn't come on the air very much. And by the way, you had tweeted that there was a wrangle.
Yes.
So I got on. I jumped on the wrangle when it was 2-0. I thought it was good. We were out of sight.
One of the referees, the Bruins are unbeaten. I forget which one it was. I found this online. One of the referees.
He changed his mind yesterday.
The Bruins. One of the referees. The Bruins are unbeaten when he is the head ref.
Right. I mean, and then you have the 2 interference penalties on Lindholm that were BS. You had. I mean, one I don't even know how it's an interference penalty. Kachuk's playing the second one. Kachuk's playing the puck. He just gets rid of it. He gets hit. That's interference. The interference. I mean, interference. Yeah. I don't understand it. It's around the action. I don't get
the puck's in the vicinity. You can hit the guy.
Yeah, I don't like. Why are you calling that? What are you thinking with that? There was a BS penalty on Maroon where he lifted his stick, and I mean, I guess it's a high stick technically, but I mean, I'm not even positive he touched the guy.
Well, Kachuk sold it well, like he does everything. Kachuk's really good at that.
And then now that you see the reverse of which I hadn't seen before this weekend, the reverse of the Bennett hit on Marchand. I mean, throws a punch. And there was no secondary discipline on that.
Again, you have the ability, the other angle to slow it down and watch. This is something that the NHL is trying to take out of the league, or they have for the last 5 years. Marchand who is pleading guilty of a lot of things, but he got punched in the face and basically knocked silly.
He got taken out of the game from an illegal punch to the face that gave him, by all accounts, you would imagine, a concussion. 617-779-0985. I mean, it would have been 2-2. But there's a bunch of problems. I mean, the Bruins couldn't finish chances in the second period. They had a million chances. I mean, and it's not even their fault in some of them. Like DeBrusk getting it through Bobrovsky's pads, and it just like rolls a little bit out. What are you going to do? Like that was a nice move. But Coyle couldn't score. He had a million opportunities.
The margin for error for the Bruins is very small, and that's the problem. You know, when it was 4-2 on Friday night, Jake DeBrusk is by himself in front and flips one over the bar. It would have made it 4-3, and the game might have been a little different. And he stood there afterwards. It went out of play, went into the netting, and he knew he had blown the chance. But against Florida, who is a more talented team than you can't afford to miss any chances. And the Bruins missed a ton. They missed a ton in the third period on Friday, and they missed a lot last night.
And you had everything you wanted to go if this series is 2-2. I mean, you have everything you wanted for going back to Florida. A chance to get Marchand back. A team, at least for a while, was the more physical team. You know who I like? Is Rodriguez from Florida.
Why?
I like his game.
Okay.
He's the guy I like. He keeps this puck on his stick. He's a tough kid. I like him. Everyone else in Florida, I'm beginning to not be able to stand. That's for sure.
Bennett is the guy, of course, that has now multiple bullseyes on his back. I was thinking about that today. Like, if you're Bennett, do you walk around like thinking right now, well, I guess I can never go to Boston? Like, you know, just on like a sightseeing tour. Like if his kid wanted to go to college up here, like he can't.
He looks like everyone else up here, so it's not like
he might be able to get away with it from a recognizability standpoint.
He's not an overly large human. He's got a beard.
If anyone found out who he was and you're a Bruins fan, like people want to kill that guy now.
Yeah, I mean that's why this series 2-2. And listen, if they win on Tuesday, you know, then it's 3-2, and then there's another game and more fun. But if this was a 2-2 series, that's why it would be so great.
Yes.
Because you have real villains. And it's not even almost Bennett's fault. Like, it's the official's fault, right? Like, Bennett, like, if Marchand would have reached over and hit Kachuk, and gave Kachuk a concussion, you go, that's a penalty. I can't believe they didn't call it.
Right.
And then you go, oh, my God, look at the back. That's bad. Marchand's going to have to stand up in this game. And then if Marchand would have checked Florida defenseman or forward into Bobrovsky.
That's absolutely a penalty.
Yeah, I know it would, but we would have been like, okay, what do you want Bennett to do? Like, he's not the official.
No.
It's almost like Bennett's not even the bad guy. Like, he's not the official.
He's a bad guy but he's also very good at seeing where the line is drawn.
Nah, I don't think he was on that goal. I think he thought that goal was getting turned over as much as anyone else. I don't know what happened. I maybe they think Coyle was embellishing, but do they really think that Coyle would embellish and like tackle his own goaltender just on the off chance that even if it's a 50-50 puck, like, better off letting your goaltender get a look at it.
Yeah, embellish made that's a good point, Fred. And I don't know if it's embellishing or if it's just like, nah, you got to keep your skates there. That wasn't that hard of a cross check. That's just hockey.
But what you just said, doesn't make sense because it's a cross check and it. Go ahead,
yeah,
Scott.
but not every cross check gets called.
No, I understand that. No, I know, but when you're watching it on replay and it's a playoff game, it should. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, the Bruins, I don't know where Marty Walsh is in all this. So he's our guy from Boston, the head of the Players Union. But they should send Pat Maroon out there in the next game and just hurt someone first shift. He should floor that Russian goalie. Everybody, I was listening to the bartender last night. He was on after the game.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was calling up and saying, bring back Milan Lucic. And, in the North End, we've already found that guy guilty. We know what happened that night with his wife. So we're not bringing him back. You know what I mean? We'd be better off bringing back Patrick Mendoza, the guy that he didn't do any firing range in the middle of Hanover Street trying to shoot other business owners. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh, the guy on the bike?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy on the bike. Yeah,
he wasn't very good at shooting. He was all over the place.
That was a less than perfect caper.
Yeah, it was not good. Like, and he's on a bike, and they have a video of it. And he's shooting all over the place, and he's hitting everything with the guy.
Pedal, pew, pew.
Yeah, he's shooting everybody. Pew. He's not shooting anybody, I should say. The bullets are just being wasted. Yeah. Well, you're not. I mean, you can't. They're obviously not bringing Lucic, and they put Maroon out on the first line a couple times.
They tried.
McAvoy went out there, and in the first shift, it's like you're trying to, take people's heads off. It didn't matter if you don't put pucks on net. Which, by the way, is how the first goal was scored last night. Just get pucks on net.
You throw the puck. You throw the puck at the net, and you go there.
Well,
that's how you score goals.
I mean, Carlos' goal was just a garbage. He barely got his stick on it. It floated for 20 feet and beat. You're not going up against Grant Fury. You're not going up against the Patrick Waugh. This is a little. You're not going against the world's greatest goaltender here. Paul, go ahead, Paul.
So the logic they're saying is Swayman would not have been able to make the save regardless of Coyle being thrown on top of him.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, and that doesn't. And that's a huge judgment call. It's just the explanation of calling it not interference is way more convoluted than just going ahead and going, yeah, it's a cross check into the goaltender. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
It's like a baseball player where the outfielder has a chance to make the catch and a fan reaches over and grabs the ball.
I think it's worse than that because I think that because you're just completely removing. It would be like if a fan came and tackled the player.
Yeah, that's probably closer to the truth. I'm not willing to say Swayman could move from left to right and make that play.
Oh, hell no.
He's been tremendous the whole series. How can you?
And
can't
also,
rule that
I can't
out.
imagine the rule is like judging how good the goaltender is. Like, well, the best goaltender of all time could have made that save, but I don't think this guy's the best goaltender.
There's a player in his way. He physically can't get over there. Why is he there? Because the attacking player pushed that player down into the crease.
Easy
interference.
To spot. My God.
Interference. It's interference.
I mean, just let the players play. My God. Just call the game straight. If the Bruins lose, they lose. It happens. But don't let all this nonsense get in the way. You know, I mean, if a guy takes a cheap shot, call him for it. If a guy cross-checks a guy into the goaltender, call him for it.
Right.
It's against the rules. You can't do these things.
And don't call interference on every time. Lynn, I know it's strange. You're not used to it, but when Lindholm hits a guy, like it's still legal. Like he's allowed to hit guys.
It's such an outlier though. They're so not used to seeing that. They're like, oh my God,
Like,
there's got to be a penalty there.
Yeah, we got to start policing this. Lindholm's hitting people.
Lindholm made contact with another player.
I mean, listen, I'm not I don't work in the league office, but I got to tell you, when they replayed that Lindholm second interference, I thought to myself, I didn't know you couldn't do that. I thought you were allowed to hit the other man on the team with your shoulder. Well, he had gotten rid of the puck. When? Oh, a fraction of a second earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We will have everything that happened last night, plus your call, 617-779-0985. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy.
game last night.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and it was a very frustrating night for the Bruins last night.
It was, and the night began with us seeing an alternate angle of the Bennett-Marchand collision. Of course, Brad Marchand not playing last night, out with some kind of injury, but that was the first I had seen like multiple airings and angles and views of the punch, the Bennett punch to Marchand, which took place in Game 3. So Sam Bennett was asked about it.
Obviously, I'm not trying to punch him in the head like everyone's saying. Other people can have different opinions. I'm just bracing myself for him coming to hit me. There's no way I would have had time to think about punching him in the head.
Yeah, that's right, because that's an instinct that takes a lot to come up with. You have to really break it down mentally. It's a real chess move.
How with the
swing arm?
With a straight face, do you say?
Obviously, I'm not trying to punch him in the head.
But you punched him in the head, and that's not something that normally takes place in a hockey game.
Yeah, you had to go over his right shoulder to do that. That takes some forethought.
He wasn't trying. He wasn't trying to hit him in the head.
That's right. There was no planning at all.
He just, when he swung his hand, and again, I hadn't seen that angle of it until this weekend. So when we got off the air Friday, I hadn't seen the angle. The Bruins said that they had an angle, and in the angle, and Bennett hits him and gives him a concussion. Which again, good on Bennett. You got Marchand out. Like you did what your team wanted you to do. You hit Marchand, you knocked him out, but it's, again, it's all officiating. Like the idea that there's a couple things Toronto didn't, and maybe they said Toronto couldn't penalize him. I highly doubt that though, because guys get penalized all the time for plays in hockey where they don't get penalized on the ice. We see that all the time.
Yeah, it's called supplementary discipline.
Yes, and so. You take out a player for a star player for a game, you should at least get a game suspension. So say even that. Then you would think, okay, well, we're going into Game 4. They obviously talked to Bennett. He was talking to officials during the game. They obviously talked to him before the game. There's no way they didn't. And then so you talk to Bennett before the game, and then he goes and cross-checks Charlie Coyle for goalie interference. You go to Toronto to review it, and then you just walk away going, eh. So, I'm not even mad at Bennett. That's how egregious this all is that I'm not even mad at Bennett, because I could see Marchand doing those two same things and us going, but I could also sit here and see if the roles were reversed, coming on the next day and going coming on this morning and going, oh, Jesus. Woof.
Yeah.
What's going on? Still going, what's going on? This is crazy. Marchand's done two crazy-ass things in this series, and both of them have essentially led to victories.
And they didn't suspend him?
My God,
the Bruins lucky.
They allowed the goal. They didn't suspend him. They don't call penalties. He's just running around living his life, having a great time.
Yeah,
if you're Bennett, there's going to be karmatic hell to pay, at some point. You don't run around like this and then everything in your life goes well.
Well, and then so the game started last night, and the Bruins know all this. They have an idea what's going on, and Charlie McAvoy lays a big hit on Sam Reinhart in the opening moments of the game. So, all right, you think they're going to go out there and assert themselves, and then they do it where it counted too.
McAvoy cranked it down to the far corner. Van Riemsdyk drives it right corner to Brust. They score! Pasternak in the right circle, teed one up and buried one low to the far side of Bobrovsky. Power play goal. Bruins 1, Panthers nothing.
Thing had vapor trail on it, 92 mile an hour. That's the type of play you need from David Pasternak. Good. You get on the board first. Okay, we get a different hockey game now. McAvoy's going out there laying people out. David Pasternak scores a goal early. Brandon Carlo.
Far side, Lundell nearly coughed it up. He does. Carlo shoots. They score! Brandon Carlo with a wrister from the blue line. Bruins 2, Panthers nothing.
And you hear that again. Wrister from the blue line. What are you doing? putting a puck on net like that from the blue line. Why would you ever do that?
I almost don't know what that looks like.
Well, it looks
That's
like
how infrequent it is.
As they said, a Phil Necro knuckleball.
Yeah.
Oh, you forget where you are. You can't say Phil Necro. You have to say Tim Wakefield.
We're having fun. I was at Tresca.
I caught that too, by the way.
Mike.
I caught that too.
If Mike can pull the audio of the 7-minute Tresca commercial that they did, I mean, they had quite a weekend.
He was playing next to him.
He was playing the country club. I guess Jaffe got him on at the country club. Did you hear him say Billy Jaffe?
The country club?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's like our friend Billy Jaffe, I believe. He said got us on at the country club.
Wow.
And so he's talking about that. This is during the game. And then he shows this chicken parmesan with Parmadoro sauce that he says that Swayman has before every game. I don't think Swayman has it before every game, let's be honest. and it's a picture of him at the restaurant holding it.
Yeah.
You know what? I went with my mom to Capitol Grill in Chestnut Hill on Saturday, and they gave us free sides and dessert.
Hey.
Wasn't that a fun use of showtime? And this isn't a game.
In the game. Well, there's pucks on the ice.
Including a picture of him holding the plate. What Bork does to push that restaurant is really unbelievable.
It's the number one. It's the special.
I'm not saying Jaffe isn't an important person in life. But Jaffe got someone onto the country club or a country club?
No, he said the country club. He goes, I got to play the country club in Chestnut Hill. That's exactly what came out of his mouth. Mike, if you can find it from the broadcast.
Holy crap. All right.
Yeah, he said that. You didn't hear that part? Yeah, he said he played the country club. And what's funny is, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I would pull that, but we're too cheap around here to have a DVR, so I don't know if I'll be able to get it.
Okay, very good.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem.
Well, let's go back to the game then, as the Panthers, as we know, got one back. It was 2-1, and then the goal.
High slot, bump to the right circle. Here it comes. Tarasenko's drive block. Chapped out in front. Swayman the save. They score. Backdoor. It's Sam Bennett with 2 seconds left on the Lindholm penalty. Bruins 2, Panthers 2.
So that was the play where Bennett, guilty of goalie interference, and nothing called. They looked at it on review. The Bruins had to challenge the call, which I thought goals were kind of reviewed on their own. Did they review it and they were getting ready to call it a good goal, and that's when the Bruins made the challenge? Is that how that worked? Because goals I thought were automatically kind of looked at just once quickly in Toronto.
I don't know if they review an obvious one like that.
Okay.
I think that was on the Bruins. Someone tapped. Well, it was pretty obvious in real time what had happened. And Montgomery,
considering
was living on the side behind the bench.
Yeah, considering the penalty for losing the challenge is being shorthanded, is going on the penalty kill, you would have to be pretty certain. Everyone was certain. The announcers were certain. They were certain that they had played free golf and had free chicken parmesan. They were certain of that, and then they were certain of what happened until they weren't. Until afterwards, where for some reason, the play-by-play guy, which is not his job, sat around wasting everyone's time in a one-goal game, twisting himself into a pretzel.
Well, it's one of those things. They didn't call a penalty on the play, so it's not something they can overturn. And I don't know. Looking at it again, I'm not sure. If there really was enough contact there, you take a look at Coyle's right hand. He kind of didn't push him, didn't really shove him. He kind of pushed him lightly on the shoulder. Are you what is your problem? Did you get a phone call from Toronto saying help us out here?
I mean, that is the definition
what is that about?
Of a pussy. Like, no, and no one called him. What happened is his brain was scrambling. Like, I wonder if the NHL is going to get mad at us because he keeps talking about this call. My partner keeps talking about this call, and he's been calling hockey for so long. They're not going to get mad at him. I'm going to be the one that gets in trouble. So I better sit here trying to cover it up. He's just being a pussy. There's some clarification here. Paul, go ahead.
So it was Jaffe got the reservation at Tresca for the announcers. He'd get into the country club. They were like, thanks to our friend Billy Jaffe, really getting us into Tresca just like Swayman.
You are absolutely correct. Thank you so much because I do remember it now, and I remember thinking that Billy is taking me to Tresca.
Mm-hmm. So
and
it's
I
not
thought,
that big a deal.
And then Ray Bork actually parachuted in through a window.
Wow.
And said,
So
thank
Billy
you.
Jaffe went on an open table for them, and he gets a mention on the broadcast for it?
I'm going to guess that they did not pay.
Oh, okay.
And then I think that
Good for Billy.
And you would think True TV with that big butt, you can tell what a horrible operation True TV is, where you get free dinner, right? Like, great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would maybe you go Ray Bork owns this place. Tresca was delicious. Like people do that kind of crap all the time, but to have a picture of yourself holding up chicken parmesan, like it's the first time the guys ate. When they go down to Sunrise, no one wants anything to do with them.
It's chicken and spaghetti. Look at it. Look, it's right there. And cheese and sauce. You ever seen such a thing?
Hey, look at all there is. There's a lot of it.
All right, let's get to Paul Maurice from the Panthers here. He's asked about the goal that was allowed. A little back and forth here with the reporter.
And the play just gets finished more than anything else, and that's in the situation book and it's in the real book. So the only way that I was particularly concerned is like some of your foreheads right now.
What?
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 There's the people in the media doing that to me, like you cannot believe. I caught you with the full forehead. That's where it came from. You were. What's that?
Your interpretation is interesting because I mean, it according to what Swayman says in their locker room, you.
Let's go with him. We're good. We're in Boston. Stay with the Bruins, brother. I'm with you.
I'm from Brooklyn, man. I ain't from Boston.
But Paul, could you also speak to just
What's going on over there?
That's a guy who knows what happened, is very certain that his player did not do the right thing, and is being incredibly defensive. That wasn't exactly an accusatory question. Yeah, Paul, what do you think about that play? You sure? Yeah, that's exactly how that guy came at you, Paul Maurice. Make sure you're extra defensive. Don't give away the fact that you know you got away with one.
Well, I mean, what's he going to do? Again, I'm blaming the officials entirely. When they go to Toronto, it's out of the hands of everyone.
But if you're the head coach, don't be incredulous you're being asked about it. I mean, come on.
I don't even know what he was talking about, John. He said it's like your foreheads. How you've somehow delineated that into some kind of diss to the media. I'm fascinated.
Everyone's raising their eyebrow.
All right. Well, I mean, it's not like he went. I'm sorry, but your basketball team's got a much stranger human being answering questions. In Joe Mazzulla. Play some Mazzulla audio with him and Washburn, and then play that Paul Maurice thing and tell me what's worse. Josh, go ahead. We got a homer here.
Hey,
Josh, go ahead.
That was Bob Sweeney that got him tickets to go golfing or something. He said, thanks, my Bob Sweeney or something.
I remember him saying that he played with Bob Sweeney, but I wasn't sure it was Bob Sweeney that got him the thing. Bob Sweeney is the head of like charitable stuff over there.
The only way that I was particularly concerned is like some of your foreheads.
Yeah, I don't know how
This guy sucks.
John, what are you getting all mad about?
The eyebrow raising. That's all I'm saying is Paul Maurice knows that his club got away with one, and he starts zipping off on this tangent, trying to head whatever he thinks he's heading off in the past.
Is it any reference to eyebrows that you become immediately sensitive? Is that a trigger for you?
What's wrong with my eyebrows, man? You got a problem with my eyebrows?
Yeah, it gives you the look of a nerdy eagle.
Right now.
Is it the glasses? It's always the glasses.
No. A lot of people don't look like you with glasses. No. You could not have glasses and look just as nerdy. The glasses actually might be an improvement.
Oh, thanks, Fred. You being the fashion plate and handsome man that you are, I understand.
I don't often get described as looking like a dork, but I will. I get called ugly all the time, believe me.
I see.
I'm an ugly man.
Okay. Just so long as we got that out of the way.
But I'm not described as a dork.
I see.
So much. That's why I can take shots at you for that and not feel bad.
As long as you feel better. That's what's important.
Thank you.
Concerned is like some of your foreheads.
All right. We will be back 617-779-0985. I'm just fascinated how this happened. How many times, John, since we've been doing this show, have we just come on and said the officiating?
Less than 5.
Like just
less than 5 times.
Like the officiating is just insane. They were.
How can they look at the same thing we look at and have a different opinion? That's the most fascinating thing out of all of this.
And then after they scored that goal, the third period was just they were shorthanded the entire period until the very end. They were just shorthanded.
It's doubling down on it. I don't know that what Bennett did to Marchand could have resulted in him being sat a game for that. I mean, Marchand is off the ice. He's either concussed or his jaw's broken, something. I mean, he got rocked.
The definition of a high hit that's illegal in this game.
But the fact that the same guy then goes and scores a goal that should have been taken off the board, at some point you throw your hands up, and I'm not going into the conspiracy theory, but I'm like, that's terrible. That's 2, and the same guy has benefited from both, and he, of course, plays for the wrong team. So, yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah, and you also would think that you were focusing on Bennett. Like, okay, we saw it. It's too late to do anything about the hit now. Like, we're not going to let him get away with anything else.
And I can.
And then let's take everything as it is. So they go, all right. They tell the officials, watch Bennett. We're not going to let him get away with anything. So real world, game moves fast. On ice officials miss the cross check they miss it. They miss the cross check into Swayman. They call it a good goal. All right. Okay. Now we've reached our limit of human foibles. They send it to the people that are neutral in Toronto. Mm-hmm. They have the information of what Bennett did earlier in the series. They have video of every angle known to man of what Bennett just did in this game, and every reason to disallow that goal. It helps them in terms of disciplining Bennett. It helps that he has, if there was, we don't know what kind of player he is, and if he would do something like that deliberately, he is. And then you have the fact that Coyle was laying, and Coyle's head hit the crossbar. I mean, it's not like Coyle went whoops-a-daisies into him. It's really frustrating. It was really, and because 2-2 would be so fun right now. I'm not convinced the series is over. But it would have been a lot. No, I'm not. I'm actually not.
Boy.
Now listen, I'm not betting on them to win the series unless in very low money. I might. I played your Wrangle last night. I was feeling like $1 million. All right, 617-779-0985.
Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins lost to the Florida Panthers at TD Garden last night, 3-2. Alexander Barkov, the eventual game winner in period number 3 after the Bruins blew a 2-0 lead. They're down in this series 3-1. Game 5 tomorrow night down in Florida. Celtics visit Cleveland tonight, up 2-1 in that second-round playoff series. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 on the BetMGM 98.5, the Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Kristaps Porzingis out again for the Celtics. Cavaliers have listed both Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen as questionable.
best player, and he's not out there for you, and then the guy who should be sitting as a result of your captain not being out there scores the equalizing goal, then it's that should have been taken off the board. How can you say that officiating did not play a part, in the very least, in last night's outcome? It absolutely did.
And by the way, that Sam Bennett goal's on a power play that was a BS power play as well. So, I mean, there's a bunch of crap going on. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Fred. Good morning, Hardy.
Hey,
Good
Mark.
morning.
So, you know what? You took the words right out of my mouth, Hardy. For Bennett to even be on the ice for the rest of the series, let alone that game last night, is absolutely ridiculous. The NHL blew that, and they blew it last night because if not goaltender interference, there's two other penalties you could have called on Bennett on that play. Was either interference on Charlie Coyle or cross-checking on Charlie Coyle, and they completely turned their back on that. This is just a case of Gary Bettman and the NHL trying to market these Southern teams that when you watch a Florida regular season game, guys, the place is half freaking empty until they make it to the playoffs. I saw online last night a ticket for a Game 4 playoff game in Florida for $66 freaking dollars. Are you kidding me? Come on. This is just another way to market the Florida teams down south, or, Carolina and whatnot. They're always there, and this is just Gary Bettman's little baby.
All right, maybe. Who knows? I don't know why the officials are officiating the way they are.
Can I just add, if I'm Bettman, I want to make sure the bigger markets are there so you have more eyeballs watching my product.
But do you know for a fact that what he just said is wrong?
I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
So that's how bad things have gotten. I'm not going to crap on that call because he very well could be right. I don't know what's going on out there.
It's so crazy that you have to entertain conspiracy theories now, because I would say, John, you already have the Boston market for hockey. It's there. It's solidified. It's not going anywhere. What the NHL is dealing with is teams not being able to thrive in these southern cities. Atlanta, Phoenix, Florida is fledgling. So if you're going to try and turn things in that direction, that's the way you do it for the overall health of the league.
Florida just went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and they still can't put anybody in that building.
Right. So
I think we're arguing a point that is, I don't think any of us, if you put us on a lie detector, thinks Bettman wants Florida to win the series. I think the point more is it's so egregious out there that you can't, I don't want to get into a debate if it's fixed or not.
No. I'm 100% with you. It's so bad that now we have to entertain this stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, just shout some guy down. What do I know?
No.
I don't know any more than that guy does. But we all have to admit, it's pretty effing egregious.
It's wacky. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I take it back. I've never seen anything non-Montreal like this.
Yeah.
When Montreal was good,
yeah,
weird stuff happened up at the Bell Center, and before that, the Forum. Every single year the Bruins went up there.
Just to reiterate, okay, so they don't call the Bennett hit on Marchand on the ice. It happened really fast. And in fact, from some angles, you couldn't even tell that he hit him. Fine. So nothing happens. Okay. The Bruins go, we have a angle of it that shows that he hit him. The angle comes out, and Bennett hit Marchand in the face and ends up giving him a concussion. We don't know it's a concussion, but everyone thinks it's a concussion. He misses at least one game. They don't retroactively suspend Bennett. Okay, fine. But you would think, and you would know that before the game, the officials talked to Bennett and said, we're keeping an eye on you. You would think the league was like, all right, everyone's going to be hyper-focused on Bennett. The crowd's going to be hyper-focused on Bennett. Make sure he doesn't pull any crap. And then to allow him to get the equalizer that egregiously and then throw it to Toronto and then have them just go, I mean, it was really unbelievable. And then at that point, I mean, the Bruins weren't going to win the game at that point. At that point, you just lost everything. The whole building went dead. I went dead. I'm at home. I went dead. That was. What do you want him to do after that?
What did Jim Montgomery say about it after the game?
We thought that Coyle was on top of our goaltender, and if Coyle was able to stand his ground, he could have cleared the puck. That inhibited our goaltender from being able to react to play in the puck.
Yeah.
Now I'm fired up.
That's as close as he can come without getting fined. But if I'm Montgomery, I get my ass fined.
Take the fine.
Yeah, take the fine. Yeah, like at least start like working them a little bit. Just be like, I would just go on. I would take a fine. I would take $100,000 fine if I was Montgomery. To win one game, I'd take $100,000 fine. I would go into mania, like Crawford used to, and that lunatic in Columbus. Tortorella, let them just go nuts. Bob, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hardy, congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The segue you just gave me about what Montgomery said in the press conference, it's totally contradictory to what the ref said after the review. He made a comment, I'm going to paraphrase, that regardless of the incidental contact, the goalie was still in position to make the play. How could he make the play when your back is to the puck and you're a foot and a half out of position? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
I don't understand what happened on that play. I don't understand how it can be reviewed and not overturned. The descriptions. I've read the rule. I mean, since we've been on the air, I've read the rule. I can read it to you again if you want me to. I'll find it. But and I didn't get anything from the play-by-play guy twisting himself up in knots, trying to get the rule.
Trying to defend
the rule.
Defend the
call.
fact that there was no call on the ice or in review. Boy, he spent, it seemed like forever, but in real time, it was about 4 or 5 minutes while plays going on in front of him. Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know.
How can you not be sure? You're sitting in the building. You have a big monitor next to you. You saw it in real time, and then you saw it on replay, frame by frame. How can you not be sure?
Yeah, and just like you're sitting there. If a defending player has been pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player, so it doesn't have to be a penalty. Pushed, shoved, or fouled by an attacking player so as to cause the defending player to come into contact with his own goalkeeper.
It was all three.
Such contact shall be deemed contact initiated by the attacking player for purpose of this rule. And if necessary, a penalty assessed to the attacking player. And if a goal is scored, it would be disallowed. I want to hear Beers in Surratt talk about it.
I've got it right here. And we also have the official on ice call after they've reviewed it. So we'll listen to Judd and Bob talking about it
All
first.
right,
let's do it now. You want to do it in a few minutes?
Let's do it on the other side.
Freddie
T playing radio to perfection. Look at you.
I got to talk about boners. I mean, what do you guys want to hear about bones? Or, anyone
Why
get
don't
into
you
the bones?
sprinkle it into the conversation, into the broadcast like they did with the chicken parm last
Oh,
night?
that's a good idea.
Seamlessly?
Yeah.
You know, fellas, I took my mom out Saturday night, me and the old lady, down to Chestnut Hill, down to the Capitol Grill.
Start it again. Don't bring up your mother. And go. Hey, so that was quite a game last night, huh?
Yeah, it was just like a great steak béarnaise I had this weekend. Tender and juicy. With some free sides. What? I lost it. It was like that free cheesecake. You know who used to have cheesecake before every game? Marty Brodeur. All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You heard a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve.
Town Fair Tire Studios, the home of the Patriots, the Celts, the Revs, and the Bruins. Boston's home for sports is 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Alexander Barkov's fifth goal of the playoffs came with 12:29 left in the third period. It snapped a 2-2 tie, and it handed Florida a 3-2 win over the Bruins in Game 5 of their second-round playoff series. His goal also capped the comeback from down 2-0.
They got a good start. They scored a couple of goals, and this is a tough building to play in. We just stick with it. We like how we played in the first period, even though they had 2 goals, but we like our chances. We just kept going, kept pushing and getting better, and then obviously Lundy's line took over.
The Bruins got 38 saves from Jeremy Swayman, but were outshot 41-18 for the night. They trail this playoff series 3-1, and Game 5 is tomorrow night down in Florida. Also, last night, Vancouver beat Edmonton 4-3 to take a 2-1 series lead. Celtics lead Cleveland 2-1, heading into Game 4 tonight at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Kristaps Porzingis remains out for the Celtics. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 on the BetMGM 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Cleveland has listed both Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen as questionable. Mitchell apparently has a left calf strain. The Atlanta Hawks won the NBA's draft lottery yesterday for the first time ever. ESPN is reporting there is a very real possibility of the Hawks making Trae Young available in trade talks this spring and summer. And the Red Sox beat the Washington Nationals yesterday 3-2 at Fenway Park. They entertained Tampa Bay this evening. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rapid Flow Sewer and Drain Cleaning. They are hiring and part of Local 12 to give you great retirement and healthcare benefits. To grow your career, visit rapidflowinc.com. With Rapid Flow, one call solves it all. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
To go to 3 minutes, Jalen jumps the pass.
Every game
Up top, Pasternak, here it comes.
is one step closer to the goal.
The steal, flies over Grayson.
This is the home of the Bruins and the Celtics and their road to the playoffs. Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Twitch feed of this is going to be used all around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up.
We're back. Toucher and Hardy.
Get up.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us every morning on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube to subscribe, to keep up to date. You got to keep up to date with the world. Wars, protests, everything. It's all on our YouTube channel. Dan Roach texted the three of us. He says it's like the Bruins are playing against the league, the officials, the Panthers. And then he gives the league what they said happened, and then the rule. The original call, explanation, video review supported the referee's call on the ice that the shove by Florida's Sam Bennett on Charlie Coyle and the subsequent contact from Jeremy Swayman did not prevent Swayman from playing his position in the crease prior to Bennett's goal, which is insane because Coyle was on top of him. And that's insane. I mean, It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I would like to hear some kind of definition of it. What do you got there, Hardy?
I have Judd and Bob talking about it during the broadcast. This was 4.5 minutes this went on for last night as the goal is scored, and then the challenge is issued, and they look at it, and they're on the headset with Toronto and going back and forth. So this is a condensed version of Judd and Bob as they realize that Montgomery has challenged the goal, and they're looking at the replay, and you can hear the crowd reacting as they're playing the replay in the Garden last night.
Bennett cross-checks Coyle right into Swayman. Absolutely. First of all, no call on a cross-check. And then Bennett chips it home. That's a good challenge.
The question is, do the guys in the Situation Room see it the same way as we do?
No, they don't, but it's it's definitely a cross-check. Coyle's right there. And he cross-checks him into Swayman. It's definitely not a goal. And Bennett should be going to the box, which can't be called now. I get that. I'm just saying. I don't think there's any doubt on this one.
Well, they've taken off the headsets, and we're going to get an explanation.
The punt fitter review determined that there was no goaltender interference on the play.
You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. We're not going to allow cross-checks, but we're going to allow cross-checks that cause a goalie interference and a goal to be scored. But we're going to crack down on the cross-checks. And now the Bruins are going to be shorthanded again.
A questionable minor penalty.
Bennett shouldn't be playing in the game.
So the questionable minor penalty on Lindholm is what leads to the power play in the first place. They're going to crack down on cross-checks. There's a cross-check that causes goalie interference. They don't call that. And as Judd and Bob really all summed up everything all at once, and the goal scored by a guy who shouldn't even be playing in the game.
That's the most upset I've ever heard Beers.
I was just going to say Beers is always measured when he talks about when he comes on with us or other shows. If any of us go crazy, Bob's the one who's like, all right, let's not go crazy. Bob was angry, and he has every right to be, but I didn't think he'd lose it like that.
Again, I don't understand, which is losing it for him.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how, again, you missed the Bennett hit on Martian on the ice, fine. But you have seen the replay that he hit him, and that he hit him and it led to a concussion that made the Bruins' best player or biggest star miss a game, at least one game. So then you would think that going into the next game, you would say, all right, listen, Bennett, there's every eyes on you. The officials, I guarantee you that the team told him, Bennett, be on your P's and Q's. You saw Maroon trying to draw him into a fight, try to embarrass him on the ice. Just keep your head down. They knew all this was happening. And they had to think, don't screw around because they're going to be looking for you. Guarantee they had that conversation with them. Don't screw around. They're going to be looking at you. They're going to be gunning for you. And then, scrum in the front of the net. He cross-checks Coyle, goes in. They call it a goal. He probably goes back to the bench and is like, all right, that's coming back. There's probably not one person in the stands, watching on television, watching it calling it on the radio. I guarantee the Florida announcers, unless they're total hacks, didn't say that one's going to get overturned. I'm telling you that it's really something. You rarely see something like this. Because, again, I could see the faults of humans.
Oh.
That you didn't see the cross-check and you didn't see the interference somehow on the ice.
Right.
But the idea that it went to a neutral party and that they sat there and reviewed it and they
Not in real time, in slow motion.
Yeah.
It had as much time as they wanted. They could have just sat there all day if they wanted
They
to.
took 4.5 minutes, and Bob even mentions that, Fred. He says, look, it's not the officials, it's Toronto. It's the league. The league is looking at this, and they're the ones who make the determination. But you're right. I've never heard Bob that upset at a call.
Upon further review, it is determined that there was no goaltender interference on the play. We have the football.
You got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's a shame. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention before Game 3, there were tweets from different reporters that the refs were going to be on high alert because of how Game 2 had ended. And so not only did they miss the Bennett punch, but also where were they on this game? Seems like they kind of dropped the ball on it.
Well, they were on high alert every time Lindholm put his body on someone. They were on high alert of. The interference call that led to that goal and the interference call later in the game on Kachuk in the third period where they couldn't afford to not have 5 men on the ice. That was an interesting one too. They seemed to be hyper focused on everything Lindholm was doing. And Lindholm, because if he gets out of hand, the game gets out of hand. Lindholm could really be a game wrecker.
Right.
It was a very strange thing, especially with the angle of the Bennett hit where you can see him with his right hand take a right hook and punch him in the face. That's just interesting to me. And I don't know how the league and then now what's the league going to say? Everyone, I don't know if the play-by-play guy for True TV is any measure. Maybe all the guys that work for the NHL Network and everything will just be like everything's fine and dandy.
No, I wouldn't expect the NHL to do anything.
I just don't know how they handle.
It'll be radio silence. They won't say anything.
Yeah, I just don't know how they handle like knowing how egregiously they messed up this playoff game.
They're going to pretend it didn't happen and move along.
And you really benefited the right fan base because Lord knows that those Panther fans get.
They would be all riled up.
They would all be riled up.
Montgomery has something else on the league and his trust in them.
Jim, where's your faith in the league that they'll make the right call on such a pivotal play?
It's not my place to comment. I mean, it's the league does a good job of handling their end of things, just like I think teams do a good job of handling their teams.
What the hell? What the hell?
Show some balls, dude. Go ahead and say the facts.
What? I mean, seriously, his job is on the line now. He was lucky to keep his job after the first round exit last year. I don't care about the regular season and the President's Trophy and the record-setting number of points. You got to get pissed. This is the type of thing, especially with Marchand out of the room right now, you got to take full control of this team. It's all yours.
Well, how about Marchand during the Toronto series, yelling at Montgomery to go after the officials? Right. That happened during the Toronto series. So I don't understand Montgomery's hesitation to say anything.
Maybe it's Don Sweeney's job to do that. Maybe and I saw a tweet from Dan Roach last night that Sweeney's going to meet the media before the team flies to Florida today. Maybe that's what this press conference is for. Maybe Don got a hold of Jim afterwards and said, you don't say anything, I'll take care of it tomorrow. That's the only thing I can think of because I couldn't agree more. I want my head coach to be pissed.
But
I want him to start screaming at people.
Sweeney's not on the ice during the game, though. It would be – I know you know that. What I'm saying is that it would be much better if the guy who had the ear of the officials during the game was the one doing the complaining.
Right, and went on record during the game, fine, lose your mind. But then double down, post-game. I'm going to get fined for this, but I'm disgusted. They got it wrong. There's no other way of saying it. It's ludicrous that Bennett is out there in the first place. My captain can't even get on the ice because of that guy. And then he cross-checks Coyle. It's the most obvious play I've ever seen in my life, a goal that should be taken off the board. So where's my faith in all of this? I have none. Yeah. Right now I have no faith that they're going to call a square game when we go down to Florida. And I don't know what the hell is going on, but zero faith because they've missed multiple calls now that have cost us dearly in this series.
Okay, and then what's the downside? Did they screw you in game 6 or 5? That's the downside is that they screw you in game 5 like they screwed you in game 4. That's already happened. So, like, really, you're playing with house money at this point. I mean, there's nothing more they can do to you. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Hey, I understand the controversial play, but none of you guys have mentioned the fact that the game wasn't lost at that point. The three Bruins, especially Charlie McAvoy, who's the most overrated defenseman I've ever seen, let that Barkov dribble right down to the front of the net. There were three Bruins on him, and he put it in the upper corner. This Charlie McAvoy has got the worst plus or minus in the NHL for a defenseman. I don't understand how, what is he, the next Brad Park, Bobby Orr? I don't see it myself. He is a liability on that ice.
Yeah, it's interesting. McAvoy, you were talking about the big hit, Hardy, early in the game to set the tone, but maybe 30 seconds later, a guy beat him for a breakaway that Swayman bailed him out of.
Yeah.
I mean, that was literally 90 seconds of real time.
Now, I'm with you. That Barkov goal was gross. I mean, the fact that he was able to maintain and be strong enough on the puck. It's not like he had a beautiful poster finish on it, but the fact that he was able still to get a stick on it and finish that shot like he did with McAvoy and others on him and able to make a play on him. They did make the play. I agree. It just shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been a tie game at that point. That's all. Well, yeah. That should have been the equalizer.
And also, what's the flow of the game? What's the vibe of the of the game if that goal is disallowed.
Yeah.
I mean, are they on their heels a little bit like they were on that Barkov goal? Does that Barkov goal happen if that Bennett goal is disallowed? I mean, there's ebbs and flows to games.
Right.
When that can, they scored. They tie the game up on some BS that you're sitting on the bench thinking, okay, this is over. You're watching it on the big screen. You're watching it on the iPads. You're watching it. You see that this is going to be overturned. They don't overturn it. I mean,
and then you got to go on the penalty kill as a result of them not overturning
exactly.
it. And that sucks. It's like a double, kick in the balls.
I mean, they were on the penalty kill the entire third period. I mean, basically the entire third period. Listen to this. Third period.
So bad.
Minute 42, Lindholm interference. 3:41, delay game. 7:58, Lindholm interference against Kachuk. 10:31, Geeky interference. Goalkeeper against Sergei Bobrovsky, which was a great interference in that Geeky just fell backwards into the goal.
Well, Fred, he can't.
4 power plays in 10 minutes.
He can't see behind. He doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. What do you expect him to do?
I don't know. It's probably his first time skating. I don't know if his neck can move so he can see over his shoulder.
And maybe Montgomery, if you're up 3-1 in this series and that's the game you lose it that way. Okay, maybe you can be more measured in your response like he was in the post game. But your season's on the line. There's a lot on the line at this point for you personally and the team professionally and everything else. And that's what you come with? The league does a good job. Everybody does a really good job.
They did a really good job. We were shorthanded for 4 times in 10 minutes. It was a really good job. So 8 out of 10 minutes was all of us shorthanded. This is fantastic.
We're only on the penalty kill 6 times. It's not bad. Oh, God.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, it was really terrible. Really, really terrible. I'm not even mad at the Bruins. I'm not even mad at the Panthers. It's just the most egregious thing I've ever seen in that I just can't believe it. The NHL is really a joke. It's a really bush league. It's like so far behind. All right, we'll be back.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
In the Bennett hit on Marchand in Game 3, then the Bennett cross-check into Coyle, into Swayman that doesn't get overturned when it goes to Toronto. A lot of garbage going on in this series. Even Bob Beer is uncharacteristically offended. Phil, go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Hey.
Hey, so I live in Tampa. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm a Lightning fan, but I just love hockey. Just a couple things that I know, so I hope you guys can let me give my 2 quick points. The Marchand hit with Bennett. My perspective, Marchand was trying to blindside him, and Bennett was protecting himself. And I think Bennett did hit him in the face with his mitt. But to me, he was trying to push off like anybody would do if somebody's going to come give him a hit.
It's not true because Marchand was coming at him and hitting Bennett's left arm, and Bennett reached around with his right arm and hit him in Marchand's left cheek. So he wouldn't be protecting himself. He was reaching around him and threw a hook.
No, that happened so fast. Bennett wasn't racing around the ice trying to tee up Marchand and had a right hook ready.
I didn't say he tried to tee up Marchand at all. Marchand came and hit him, and when he hit him, he threw a left hook at him.
Saw an
a right
opportunity.
hook at him.
He took advantage of the opportunity. Oh, there it is. There's an opening. Okay.
Well, if Marchand wants to mix it up, then he's got to be able to deal
You're not
with it.
allowed to hit someone in the face.
Well,
if Marchand hit him in the face,
I think he was pushing back.
He wasn't pushing. He threw a. It's not a perspective. It's an incorrect analysis of it. What you're describing what happened wrong. Bennett threw a right hook.
I said he hit him in the face. I said it looked
but
like
you said he pushed. It wasn't a pushing
intentional.
motion. It was a hook to the face.
Oh. You know what's in his head that he was trying to
you
hit
know
him?
what? Go, you dumb Tampa people ruin Florida.
Isn't Tampa the team that won't allow opposing fans in their own building?
Oh, Jesus.
You don't even have to look at it in slow motion, but when you look at it in slow motion, he absolutely punches him in the face.
He was pushing him. Well, no, he's not pushing
He gives him a right hook to the face.
Yeah, he's pushing him. Well, it's not a push. It's not a pushing motion, you moron. It's a right hook. No. Oh, no. Come on. Oh, well, that's a solid argument. Oh, come on. I wish Tampa didn't exist. Trevor, go ahead.
Hey, I was just calling to say I believe Montgomery should.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Montgomery should really have some pushback on the refs in this. I don't know if you recall when they used to play the Hurricanes a couple years in a row in the playoffs. Brindamore was notorious for giving it to the refs in his at the podium, and I don't know if it was coincident or not, but there was always more calls against the Bruins. And then I think it was him that was even as far as to say that Bergeron would, cheat at the faceoff dot. And then, all of a sudden he starts getting kicked out of the faceoff dot more often. So,
Trevor, you're right. Remember Berube during the Stanley Cup Finals? He was one of the main reasons. Same thing.
Well, just in the last round, again, Marchand was yelling at Montgomery on the bench about not going after the officials. And in Toronto's fired coach was going after the officials.
Sheldon Keefe.
And that is what Sheldon Keefe. And that's what Marchand believed, that Keefe had worked the refs correctly. I don't know at this point, down 3-1 in the series, you've just been screwed 2 games in a row, how you can't get up there, what you have to lose. What do you got to lose? The worst case scenario is they're going to screw you again. That's the worst case scenario.
Yes. And you're on the brink of elimination, so might as well. Nothing to lose.
Justin, go ahead.
Hey, so good morning. So that dude calls in and says he doesn't have a dog in the fight, but then he's from Tampa, so obviously he doesn't like the Bruins, but besides the point. When they have the puck in the offensive zone, they're like allergic to shooting the puck. Like there's been multiple periods where they have less than 5 shots, and I mean you can't win a hockey game when you get outshot 42-18. I mean, like besides the point of the Bennett goal, like they just need to shoot the puck when they have it in the offensive zone. That's what they're not doing.
Fans were chanting "shoot the puck" last night in the third. There was a chant in the Garden: "Shoot the puck, shoot the puck."
Well, I mean that Carlo goal was just a real tough one. I mean, there was ever any more of a reason to just put the puck on net. That Carlo thing was a 2-mile-an-hour knuckleball that got past Bobrovsky.
Yeah, Bobrovsky's been good, but he's not an impenetrable brick wall.
Percentage
Throw
is
some
under
pucks
90%.
on the net.
I mean, they're getting outshot by a factor of 2-1.
On the rare occasions when you don't have 4 Panthers standing in front of Bobrovsky, that's when you have to put the pucks onto the net. Put them on.
I mean, Florida's the better team. They're outplaying you, but you had a chance to win that game.
Yes.
You didn't need the officials being the deciding factor in that.
That's all I'm asking for.
All right.
Just let the players solve
Yeah,
it.
very quickly, like we're going to talk about the Bruins. We have guests coming on. We have all kinds of stuff, but I am curious. So this Friday, I got a text on my phone that said that it was from an unknown number, and it said that I had received courier or delivery is here to see you at Beasley Media Group, Boston. It's from a 669 area code. So I got a text. It was Friday at 11:15 a.m. I was long gone.
Yes.
I was probably in the middle of a threesome or something.
Hell yeah, you were. But there is a huge box here, and Fred, we have something for you.
I saw you with the box. What was in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What's in the box?
All right, I don't know what's in this box. How big would you say this is, Manly Man?
That is a 4 foot by 2.5 foot pack. No, 3 by 2.5 foot package.
And it says, shipped to Freddie T's new bachelor pad, CO 98.5, the Sports Hub.
It's probably 2 inches in depth, 3 feet wide, 2.5 feet tall, and again, it is addressed to Fred?
Freddie T's new bachelor pad.
All right.
All right, so Wallach has already made a guess.
98.5, the Sports Hub. Yeah?
Wallach has already made a guess. Wallach, you think it is?
Oh, it's dogs playing poker. That's what that is.
He thinks it's
dogs playing poker.
Now, what I think it is, Fred, is I think it is Tom Brady, David, Patrice Bergeron, Paul Pierce, all sitting at a diner apart from each other.
Oh!
You know?
Oh, Jesus.
It's all Boston,
Gordie
baby.
Howe, Al Kaline.
What is that, Hopper painting?
It says,
the diner?
It says handle with care, and I've already managed to screw that
So
up.
Fred is tearing open the wrapping.
I usually have Nicholas.
Getting the tape off the box. There we go.
It is. It appears to be some kind of artwork. What do we have in here, Fred?
Okay. How about that?
It is a picture of a long-haired Assy McGee. Almost a Hulk Hogan-esque Assy McGee.
All right.
That is something else, boy.
As you know, I was a voice on the Cartoon Network's Assy McGee. In the episode Squirrels, you can hear me. And
is there any kind of...
That's a little odd.
Unless your name is in the system and it's already set up, if anything is addressed to you, whether the person knows you or not, you'll be alerted.
Unless it was someone from that Clambake animation... Even if that's the case, start using my voice in more of these cartoons.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That might make the most sense. Somebody who you worked with when you were doing the voiceover stuff.
Back in 2008.
16 years ago, they would have held on to your number all day. You haven't changed your number in 16 years?
I haven't, but I've also asked if I could do voices for them again, and they've politely declined. And I saw them at the Chip Chipperson thing when
But
I
that
killed.
was 5 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I killed at the Chip Chipperson thing, when I was it was me, Anthony, Sam, and Jim, or I'm sorry, Chip. And I was up there, and the crowd couldn't have been happier I was there.
I don't think I attended that one. I went to your Too Much Tuna thing.
No,
And
that
was good.
That was a event.
That was good. The Chip Chipperson thing, I only heard the audio from, and that's a tough spot. You were in a tough spot.
Tough spot. They didn't want me up there, and the mistake, I just kept calling him Jim instead of Chip.
That's
like
a problem.
when I read for them to come out, I thought I did a good job. Like when I just read the introductions, like that he had written down, I thought it was fine. But then when it came time to like being a part of it, I didn't really know how to handle it.
And the fan base for both Chip and Anthony, they're normally so accepting and so warm and welcoming.
When Anthony Cumia left the Somerville place in Somerville, the theater it was at, because Jim just like left.
Yeah.
When Anthony and I went to a bar afterwards, Anthony was with his girlfriend. I was with my wife at the time, and we walked. And as we walked down the street, there was a crowd of like 600 people following Anthony. Like we walked into this
I
restaurant.
didn't know the Proud Boys chapter was that big in Boston.
No, listen, it did. They're very powerful, and yeah, Gavin McGinnis was there. It was a big thing. It was the whole gang was there. And as we got into the restaurant, like I told the restaurant guy, I'm like, "There's like 800 people that are about to come in here," and he's like, "Yeah, there's no seats," and I'm like, "Okay, but there's 800 people in front of your restaurant,"
And for some reason, they're all really angry.
Exactly.
Haven't quite figured out why, but they're really mad.
You won't be able to tell they're all together because there's a rainbow of nationalities and colors.
Gender, age, color. They're not all 36-year-old angry white guys.
That might be listen, Anthony's done some things that I'm sure aren't the greatest, but he was funny when he was funny.
Funny guy.
Eddie, go ahead.
Hey, let me tell you, your buddy Marchand finally got what he had coming to him. He's as dirty as my old lady after a six-pack.
Hey.
A six-pack?
Waka waka.
Eddie, don't talk about your old lady like that. Don't use booze as a lubricant for your sexual desires.
It's not just that it was Marchand.
Let her open everything while she's sober. Let her just one day romantically say, "My body is a playground for you, and I consent to everything."
My body's a wonderland.
My body is a wonderland.
Tell her to hike her skirt up a little bit more and show her world to you.
Hike up your skirt a little more.
Show your world to me.
Sit on my face and suffocate me with that giant butt of yours.
That's the Wallach remix.
Please, on this Mother's Day, honey, I just wanted to ask you.
As the mother of my children.
As my mother of my children, if you could treat me as an egg and sit on me until I hatch. And you know what I mean by hatch. You don't even have to touch it. Just the idea of not being able to breathe.
Well, in the huge-ass smothering fantasy of yours, do you ever
Hardy.
get into...
Hold on, let me prepare myself. Yes?
Is there an autoerotic asphyxiation component to it, too, where you're being smothered and you could pleasure yourself, and at the point...
All right, you've gone too much. You can't go that. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
But get yourself to the point.
All right. Very good.
You're cutting off oxygen.
Very good. We will be back in just a moment.
I want to know.
617-779-0985.
He knows. He can tell me.
Sports Hub headlines.
Well, Hardy, since you asked. No, I can't. I don't want to keep the job. Bruins lost last night, 3-2. They blew a 2-0 lead, and now they're down to Florida. 3-1 in their best-of-7 second-round playoff series. And even worse, Game 5 on the road down in Florida tomorrow night. Celtics will be in scenic Cleveland, Ohio tonight to play the Cavaliers. They lead that best-of-7 second-round playoff series 2-1. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7. On the BetMGM 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network, Kristaps Porzingis out for the Celtics. Donovan Mitchell questionable for the Cavaliers. And the Red Sox won yesterday, 3-2 over the Washington Nationals at Fenway Park. The homestand continues against Tampa Bay this evening. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by WellPoint, formerly Unicare. They've teamed with Charlie Coyle, Mass State and local police, the professional firefighters of Mass, and Bruins Radio for face-offs for first responders. If you or a loved one are thinking about suicide, get free and confidential help 24/7 on the Lifeline Network. Just text or call 988 now. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy. sounds like this? This is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Last night, the Bruins got completely screwed. It's embarrassing for the NHL. It's embarrassing for everyone. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You had, and again, I understand that the Bennett hit on Marchand. I didn't even know how dirty it was, obviously, until this weekend when they put the alternate view of it up, and you could see the right hook to Marchand's face, which eventually gave him a concussion, everyone's saying, and which made him miss at least one game. You would think that would be a suspension, but maybe that's something they don't want to do retroactively, so okay. But at least going into Game 4, you're saying, all right, everyone's keeping an eye on Bennett. You would have to figure the officials talked to him, you would know his team talked to him, and everyone's like, all right, dude, everyone's keeping an eye on you. Everyone's going to be, the crowd boos every time you touch the puck. This is big time. You can't screw up. Don't be screwing around. And yet he cross-checks Charlie Coyle into Swayman. It leads to a power play goal. They review the play in Toronto. The announcer on TV, Bob Beers, everyone under the sun, every fan, the crowd, everyone is saying, well, this goal is going to be disallowed. This is why there's review. This is going to be disallowed, and then it's not disallowed. Play any one of the people, the reaction or the official, any one of those things, Hardy, if you would.
Any one of the
anything having to do with the goal, the Bennett goal.
All right. How about Jim Montgomery?
We thought that Coyle was on top of our goaltender, and if Coyle was able to stand his ground, he could have cleared the puck. That inhibited our goaltender from being able to react to playing the puck.
Yeah, well said, Montgomery. You couldn't show any kind of balls or any kind of heated.
How do you not let your baser instincts take over? How are you that measured immediately after a game like that?
And what is the disadvantage of not being that measured? What are they going to do? Turn around and be worse? How is that possible? They cost you this game.
You know what? I would bet if he went off and got fined, the team would pay for it.
I've always questioned how that works.
I would bet the team would pay for Montgomery's fine because the team is probably more pissed off than he is. I mean, how can you not say anything after a game like that? Well, your team so blatantly got screwed.
All you can go is up or stay the same. There's no going down with the officials. Chris, go ahead.
So let's take the Bennett play, the one that everybody says they've looked over, and now it's now it's a murder on the ice. Marchand comes in, Bennett turns knowing he's coming, and does he give him a how do you do? Is he in the ribs a bit? Yeah. That's all in the game.
You haven't seen the other angle then. He reaches right. He hits him in the face, Chris. There's no debating it. He doesn't give him a how do you do to the ribs. He hits him in the face.
That's a soft play.
You can say it's a soft play, but you just described it wrong. You said he gives him a how do you do in the ribs. I don't think you've seen the angle where the camera's pointed on Marchand and Bennett's coming behind him.
But where's he injured? Where is he injured? He's
his
injured
head.
In the lower core, right?
His head. No, he's got a concussion.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, yeah. You haven't seen the review that I've seen or that's been being played now. Because I was with you. I wasn't positive it was dirty and that's why I said, fine, Bennett played. He shouldn't be playing, but he didn't play because in a bunch of the reviews, it doesn't look like you did anything. Replays, it doesn't look like you did anything. But if you see the one they released over the weekend, I mean, he hit him in the face. He gave him a right hook to the face. But Marchand's out with what everyone believes to be a head injury. And so, yeah, that's the case. So that's the info.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't have it. That's all right. Richie, go ahead.
Oh, hey, guys. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I saw something online. One of the referees in last night's game used to work for the Florida Panthers organization. Do you guys know anything about that, or can you guys investigate that?
Sure, but all I know is that Johnny had this cool wrangle, and I thought I was in the money because there were these guys one of these officials was 9-0-2 in Bruins games, And John announced that there was a wrangle Joe Murray style, and I got very excited. And then the next thing you know, we're doing this. You know who else got excited? Do you have it over there, Mr. Rob Poole?
You mean about the meal last night?
Yeah, if you aren't familiar, Ray Bork has a restaurant where he's a part owner. It's like Bledsoe with the wine and Ray Bork with the restaurant.
Thank goodness.
And
otherwise, where would you eat?
And you're on national television. You would assume the free meal comes your way, and so there, it's called payola. If you get, here's the rules of payola. So if you give me something like, for instance, an Assy McGee poster,
right,
and you're a clam bake meeting, and you go, I'm giving you this Assy McGee poster. I'll give you this Assy McGee poster if you go on the air and talk about my business. You send me the Assy McGee poster, then I go and talk about your business. That's
you
payola.
Just did it.
Yeah, right. If I knew this was from Clam Bake or if I had that conversation. Now, like someone can go to you, oh, hey, thank you so much for coming in. I'm a fan. Please, drinks are free tonight. And then you can go on the radio the next day and go, oh, boy, they gave me free drinks last night. That's okay because it wasn't pre-planned. A lot, and this is an issue with the other stations because apparently they're getting all these free trips to the Caribbean if you were in on our Zoom call.
Yeah.
It's like these stations that bill like $5 a year, all living in the Bahamas.
Well, they live in the Bahamas and at Disney World, apparently.
Yeah.
A lot of broadcasts from Disney World.
Yeah, we're Minnesota and Indianapolis on this station. And so, and by the way, Minnesota, by the Mall of America, not even in Minneapolis, which is a nice city. But so this is from the television broadcast. The television broadcast during play last night.
Yeah.
You know I love my chicken parm, and so I grabbed some chicken parm as you did, Brendan Burke, and it was a healthy dose of parm. And by the way, Tresca, of course, co-owner Ray Bork, the Hall of Famer and the legend here in the Boston area. Thanks to Billy Jaffe for helping us out and setting us up over there.
It's a fantastic meal, so we're attributing both Swayman's performance and our broadcast to that restaurant, I guess.
And then they show a picture of him smiling with the chicken parmesan. What the hell's going on during the game? What is going on with the NHL? First of all, it's on True effing TV, which is embarrassing enough.
Well, they had to play the reruns of Big Bang Theory over on TBS, so it got moved over to True TV.
Well, they had some King Kong movie on TNT.
Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah. I don't blame them for that.
It's no Pacific Rim, but,
it's pretty good.
I mean, did you know immediately that it was going to be on True TV?
No, I had to look for it.
No, you have to look, which is great. So I like looking for True TV. That's the number one great NHL thing. Then they have Captain JV in the third period trying his hardest not to get in trouble by explaining away why it wasn't interference on the Bennett goal. And the color guy just doesn't have a clue what the play-by-play guy is saying, but he's got to get it all in there because for some reason he's afraid someone's going to tattle on him. And then they're doing a 5-minute commercial to Tresca during play.
Of parm. And by the way, Tresca, of course, co-owner Ray Bork, the Hall of Famer and the legend here in the Boston area. Thanks to Billy Jaffe for helping us out and setting us up over there.
I mean, what, you couldn't get into Tresca yourselves? Like, what, now Jaffe's controlling the business?
Was it just the parm, too? Were there any apps?
Fried calamari.
DA.
Yeah.
He's real Italian.
The key to any great game meal is snacking. You got to have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Look, I got my wings.
You got your parm.
That was the
Thanks
best.
to Billy Jaffe for helping us out and setting us up over there.
Mike Andelman said, we just had DA do something for the Phantom Gourmet, and it was ridiculous. He's like, I'm sending you everything.
We needed 3 minutes, and Michael Endelman sent us 15.
Yeah. He's
Fried
like,
calamari.
he's like, it's kind of mean, but he was like, DA was just terrible.
Co-owner Ray Bork, the Hall of Famer and the legend here in the Boston area.
Which I like the fact that, they did make the hockey tie in there, but don't you have per diem? I mean, don't you have money that you can go spend on a meal?
I would think the network could chip in and get you a seat wherever you wanted to go.
Grab some chicken parm as you did, Brendan Burke.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fried calamari.
Oh, DA. Colin, go ahead.
Guys, I appreciate and enjoy everything you're saying. And there's a quick point of reference. When you bring up the point that our player basically got punched so hard in the face and they blocked the camera view. And then they're going to check the cross-checking, and they get worse. They allow what you described, Bennett drills call into Swayman. That's an immediate stop of play, and they review it, of course, in Toronto and say that there's no interference. And remember, the players know what's going on. When you're getting attacked and beat up, and it's aided and abetted and encouraged by ignoring it, and then you allow them to get away with that atrocious call. And the answer is, yeah, but we had plenty of egregious turnovers and can't finish the play. That's a subject switch. That's a sign of weakness and a fault. And the lying and the cheating and the undermining of the integrity of the game put in the hands of athletes who put dedication and decades of doing what's right to be undermined by what's wrong. It's inexcusable.
I agree.
It's politics and sports, and it's sickening.
I agree. The Bruins were on killed 4 penalties in 10 minutes. 8 minutes of 10 minutes of the third period were spent on penalty kill. It's ludicrous. You're telling me both, neither of them were, but you're telling me both of Lindholm's interference calls should have been called? Again, John, you've been doing this with me since 2009. How many shows have we come on and just blamed officiating?
Less than 5.
I mean,
less than 5 in 15
hundreds
years.
and hundreds and hundreds of games that we've and I usually dismiss it. It usually bothers me, but I don't understand. And like the callers that are arguing against it end up agreeing with us at the end of the call for the most part.
Yeah,
unless you're from Tampa.
The yeah buts, we do it all the time. It's a 1-goal game, and it was a goal scored by a player that A, shouldn't have been on the ice, and B, the goal should have been taken off the board. So take your yeah buts and stick them. Not this time. Not on this one.
No.
Not on a 3-2 loss.
Look, Florida's better. So you could have been 2-2 going into Florida, then I'm confident you win in Florida, and then it's 3-2, and then I'm not so confident. But regardless, I mean, it changes everything. Listen, I don't think the series is definitely over. I still think the Bruins can win Game 5. Lockhart says he knows where the per diem money went.
And it was a healthy dose of Parm.
Where? No, it went to Dan Flasher's. The patterns are so complicated. He said you took him to Dan Flasher's.
Yeah, I understand.
Fried calamari.
That's not that. Something else.
Dave has an Italian joke, so I won't take that. Chuck, go ahead.
All right, hey guys. So I'll start with Darren Panger. Panger, 5 minutes after the goal happened, right? After his Parmesan, after talking about getting onto the country club and all the stupid stuff that NBC would never do when they had the NHL. He randomly was I still can't believe they let it in, and that's when the play-by-play guy tried to tie his shoes and knots, trying to figure out how that wasn't, how it absolutely could be, because I'm sure the league was in his ear. But Panger's a former goalie, and Panger, he just was flabbergasted for the rest of that entire.
He kept mentioning it.
It was insane.
It was. Yeah, he was flabbergasted. You're right. He just mentioned it out of the blue late in the game. And that was my problem, is the play-by-play guy. Yeah, I know about former goalie. He's actually good at his job. But the play-by-play guy,
Panger's great.
Yeah, he's great. But the play-by-play guy sucks, and he's sitting there for no reason, like he's getting chased by a bully, trying to explain away a rule, and he's misdescribing the rule. He was saying if they didn't call a penalty on the ice, they can't call the penalty. They can't call it interference, and they absolutely can call it interference.
Right.
Was wrong. He was wrong.
Exactly. It was like when Romo was with Jim Nantz in Mexico, and Jim Nantz was saying you're basically calling Romo he's hungover. There was that kind of tension between Panger and the play-by-play guy throughout the rest of the broadcast. So I appreciate Panger sticking up for him, but I mean every single media player or person, based off of last night, based off of the hit from Bennett, they don't know how to handle this, and the NHL looks like you said, Rich, the biggest Tusher, the biggest joke of all the sports.
It does look like a joke between True TV, between the play-by-play guy, between the Bennett, not having the correct angle on the Bennett hit, to not. Just the whole thing is just atrocious.
It's a fantastic meal, so we're attributing both Swayman's performance and our broadcast to that restaurant.
Yeah, Swayman eats 10 pounds of chicken Parmesan before every game, is what he does. Just like Ray Ferraro, they called him Chicker Palm. All right, hang on to your hats because we're about to talk some Duncan. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Oh, Hardy. After a late night spent...
need caffeine. I feel like I need vitamin.
Sports Hub, an easily media group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins blew a 2-0 second period lead last night and lost to Florida 3-2 at TD Garden. David Pastrnak and Brandon Carlo scored early, but the Panthers came on late, getting goals from Sam Bennett and Alexander Barkov in the third period to tie and win the game. Bennett scored after pushing Charlie Coyle into goaltender Jeremy Swayman and knocking him out of position.
I don't think progress was impeded. I just think that we could have prevented that. And the fact is that Coyle was pushed into me. I couldn't play my position. So that's that.
As a result, the Panthers now lead this best of 7, 3-1, and they have the home ice for Game 5 tomorrow night. Brad Marchand did not play last night, and according to Jim Montgomery, he's day-to-day. The Celtics visit Cleveland tonight, up 2-1 in that second-round best of 7 playoff series. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 on the BetMGM 98.5, the Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Kristaps Porzingis is out again for the Celtics. Cavaliers made some news yesterday by listing Donovan Mitchell as questionable with a left calf strain. Jared Allen is questionable as well. Atlanta won the draft lottery yesterday, despite having only a 3% chance to do so. The NFL's regular season schedule will be announced Wednesday night. The league has announced within the last 20 minutes Baltimore will visit Kansas City on opening night in an AFC Championship game rematch. And the Red Sox beat the Washington Nationals 3-2 last night at Fenway Park. They'll play Tampa Bay at Fenway this evening. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Visit the Nines the day after the Red Sox win, and 99 Rewards members get a free kids meal with every adult entree purchased. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Al Horford.
This is Al Horford.
Al Horford catching slam. Horford for three.
You're listening to the home of Boston Celtics basketball. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
On the air, online, on the air. This is how Boston sports fans start their day. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You can watch us on YouTube every morning. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And subscribe to keep up to date with all the best moments from Boston's Home from Sports, would you? Lots of Bruins talk this morning. We'll talk to John Corrales about the Celtics coming right up. Fluto of Shinzawa will talk to us. Everyone's very upset, myself included, that Jerry Seinfeld was booed at Duke. No, everyone's upset about the Bruins. We've talked about it for 2 hours. By the way, I put something on Instagram at Fred Toucher. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm verified. You could get verified too, John.
How's that, Fred?
My son and I did it on the way home from the Bahamas. I did it right there on the plane. I'm platinum, so I get internet access. It's pretty sweet.
Huh.
And it was easy. I just had to send 2 articles, and they were hard to find about me. They were very flattering articles, and then I sent them, and then I got verified on the plane. Like my son did it, and it all got taken care of. But I have a picture of my father up there, and I said, I need your help. My father is 82. He's played golf on the courses where he lives over 1.5 thousand times. He claims he's never seen someone pee outside ever on one of them. This cannot be true. There are 278 comments. I will have my father on later in the week because Hardy, as a big-time golfer, doesn't believe him. My father, this plot of land in East Tennessee that's Tellico Village, my father guards with his life. Nothing can go wrong there. It's like it's utopia. It's Augusta National and Pebble Beach all rolled into one. They're fine courses. They're like nice courses. They're not private. And he acts like I don't even think you have to wear a collared shirt. And he's acting like he says he's lived there since he moved there while I still lived in Atlanta. So he's lived there for over 20 years. And he says he's never seen someone take a leak outside. And I said, you, with the bladder and in the urinary tract infections, you never go to the bathroom. He's like, well, I never pass the bathroom. That's how this whole conversation started. I played golf with him on Saturday, and he kept asking me where the bathrooms were. I'm like, go pee outside. And he's like, I don't know. And I said, well, you'd be embarrassed if someone saw your back? And he'd be like, I'd be mortified. I'm like, this guy who farts and had crap stains in his underwear, was walking around naked in the house. His bed had crap stains in it. I told you that.
No, I don't remember that part of it, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, because him and my mom didn't sleep together for a very long time. And, like, all hell broke. Yeah, there'd be, like, cans full of cigarette butts. And, there would be, like, poopy stains on the skid marks on the sheets.
Okay.
Like, when I was a kid, I, like, wouldn't get into his bed because it was so gross. Like, you couldn't pick up any can and drink out of it because it would have a bunch of cigarette butts in it. And then there would be poopy on the sheets.
Okay.
And he only wears tighty whities to this day, but saggy tighty whities.
Oh,
you want to get in on this, Hardy? You want to launch yourself into this?
My point is,
I'm looking up Tellico Village. I think I want to retire there.
Okay.
Hey, listen, you could buy their house. They got to downsize, baby. They're getting old. So, you see the house, you go, how much you want? And then they tell you go, what? Really? That's it? And so, so this isn't like what I'm trying to tell you is this isn't, Nelson Rockefeller here. This is not, this isn't the Queen of England. This is not a man who's prim and proper.
Right.
Like, I mean, this is a guy who I've heard, I've been in the car with, like, girlfriends, and he's just blown huge farts. Like, this is a guy who, is like, his farts smell distracting. Like, his farts smell like you can't think it. Like, if you ever wanted to meditate, just get in a room with him farting, and your brain will be locked in.
Got it.
Focus will never have been easier. And he's saying he never saw anyone pee outside on a golf course.
Which, I'd probably err on the side of being a little more traditional when it comes to golf course stuff. Yeah, I'll tuck my shirt in. Yeah, I follow most rules of etiquette. I think it's more rare to have someone not pee on the golf course during an 18-hole round than it is for someone to pee. Like, it almost always happens. Somebody is going to go off and take a leak.
And usually
the older, in the middle of the round.
And usually the older you are, the more likely you are to do it. Like, I played in this, like, Adirondack tournament. I was in a twosome, and there was another twosome, and this twosome had this, like, older Irish guy. He's probably 70-something. And he was, like, all Irish and drinking and everything else like you would expect the old Irish guy to be doing. Every stereotype, I won't bore you with it. But I'm looking for a ball, and I'm on one side of the fair rough, like the right side of the rough, and from the left side of the rough, I hear, hey, you balls, yeah. And I look, the guy's pants are onto his knees. He's taking a leak, and he's pointing to the ball. Fully nude from the waist down, waist to knees. Big. He was not a man who manicured.
Oh.
He did not have a manscape.
Real bird's nest, huh?
I mean, I thought John flew into it.
Ew.
But, I mean, usually the old guys just let it fly. All right. Brian, hello.
Hi, how's it going? So my parents live in the same village as your parents.
Cool.
And I have been on that golf course, and I've never, ever used the bathroom on that golf course, just in the woods.
Yeah. Wait, what? In the woods. Oh, yeah. So you've gone in the woods, right. Now, does your dad take a leak on the golf course?
He does, and my brother has. Yeah.
What is my dad's problem? Describe the golf course to people. It's not exactly like, the country club, right? It's
no.
Yeah.
No, it's a nice course. It's, nicer than Billerica Country Club, but other than that, that's about it. There are some holes I won't pee on because they're too close to houses.
Sure.
But other than that, I pretty much, it's all free game.
Well, Brian, if you're down there, the 4th of July, I'll see you by the swimming hole. Thank you very much.
I would understand why some older guys, even though they might need to, might not want to, because if you're going to take a leak on the golf course, you're probably not going to do it in the middle of the first fairway. You're going to go off into the trees. You're going to go off on maybe where there's a creek or something, or up against a tree, and you don't want to navigate any treacherous terrain in order just to relieve your bladder. So I understand why some may not do it, but it happens all the time. And for your father to say he's never seen it, I don't believe it. That's a bordering on insane statement to make.
He's insane about this place where he lives. He just has built it up in his head as this like nirvana.
I just found a place I'm going to buy on there, by the way.
Yeah, how much is it going for?
That's
700?
$475,000.
Very good. Was it a 5-bedroom?
4.
Yeah.
4-bedroom, 3-bath.
Yeah, so this gives you an idea. This isn't Nantucket or Stowe.
Bert Breer is leaking out some schedule stuff.
All right, very quickly, just do it now because we have John Corrales coming on. Go ahead.
2024 NFL season will kick off with the Ravens playing the Chiefs at Arrowhead Thursday, September 5th on NBC. So games 1 and 2 will be Ravens at Chiefs on the 5th, and then on the 6th, that Friday, Eagles, Packers. And that one is in Sao Paulo, Brazil on Peacock.
Cool. More streaming. Awesome.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yep.
Okay. Brazil needs NFL. That's what that country needs more than anything else.
Well, they'll tell you, I heard Peter King on with Mad Dog, and he said Sao Paulo is bigger than any city in the United States, that it's the largest city in the Americas.
Sao Paulo is the biggest city, like bigger than Mexico City?
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
Well,
okay.
John, go fly there and tell me what's going on. See how many people you can count. Yeah, he said Sao Paulo is the big city in Brazil, right?
Sao Paulo is the most populous city in Brazil and the capital of the state of Sao Paulo.
I thought it was Rio where they held the Olympics.
That's where they dance on the sand.
Every time you open your mouth about cities in Brazil, you show your ignorance.
All right,
John.
go right
It's
ahead. Then why
keep
don't you
digging-
school me some?
Keep digging yourself deeper.
Go ahead.
It's embarrassing.
Okay.
It's one of the most populous cities outside of Asia, the world's 20th largest city proper by population.
You blame it on Rio when you go there and you have sex with your friend's underage daughter.
Yes.
Like in the movie Blame It on Rio that played all the time.
Love is like a secret.
That was
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine was having sex with a teen.
What'd you say, Beaton? Beaton's whispering in my ear about Sao Paulo.
It's
Just say it.
Double the size of Rio in terms of population.
Okay.
What a dumbass job.
What is it what compared to Mexico City?
It's a good question.
Yeah, that is.
Well, I would
Good
like
way to go, Ryan.
I would like an answer. I know you got called into duty last night late because Dan O'Brien is quote unquote
the way
sick.
to do it would probably be to Google world's most populous cities.
Yeah.
Mexico City is 9 million, and Sao Paulo is like 12.
Yeah. So
So
boom.
Sao Paulo's bigger.
Yes, that's another way of saying 12 is bigger than 9.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Which is like when me and my brother are in a room. You'll see
Fried
12 and a
calamari.
9.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. All right.
Woo! All right. John Corrales is going to join us. The Celtics play too.
Mm-hmm. Tonight.
And it should be a real with Donovan Mitchell not
Boy,
playing.
after that game 3, you're getting the sense that we just got to kind of wait for a couple more games and then see what happens. Just watch Knicks Pacers. More interested in watching that.
Why? What happened during that series yesterday that you liked? That they won by the most that the Pacers ever won a playoff game by?
Well, didn't you think the Knicks were gonna
Tom Thibodeau is playing 7 guys like 48 minutes a game?
No, I didn't think
Yeah.
the Knicks were going to lose by 34 points. And I heard a guy right when the game started, the gambling guy, not here. It's not a shot at Lifshats or anything. It was a national guy.
Oh, no.
Right when the game started, he's like, "Here, I like the Knicks to win, not the spread. The 6.5 point dog. I love them to win. I love the blah blah blah." And then they lost by 34. And then you should never be able to gamble again. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We'll talk to John Corrales all about tonight's Celtics game.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Now, I like this song. The underappreciated Paul Westerberg solo stuff. Not on Pleased to Meet Me. I'll Be You is on Pleased to Meet Me. That was the big single.
No.
Want to make a bet?
Yeah. How much?
I'll bet you $20.
$20.
$20 that it's not on Pleased to Meet Me.
And I'll Be You is not on.
I'll Be You is on Please. Oh, no.
Too
Pleased
late.
to Meet Me. Jesus, I was thinking of the last album with his face. Pleased to Meet Me is the handshaking. Alex Chilton's on Pleased to Meet Me. You're correct. I owe you $20.
Can I have it, please?
What was the name of the album after Pleased to Meet Me?
That's the one with the merry-go-round, isn't it?
No, it's the one with I'll Be You. All right, forget it.
No.
Do we have John Corrales or no? What's going on? We have him. All right, very good. The Celtics absolutely blew out the Cavaliers. Now Donovan Mitchell may be hurt. I think they're minus like $7 million when Donovan Mitchell's not on the court.
Yes.
It's not a good situation for Cleveland or for people that are fans of basketball. John Corrales is the Celtic beat writer for the BostonSportsJournal.com. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hi, John.
Hello. How are you?
I got Celtics fever because this is looks like a lot's up in the air here in terms of if they're going to win or not. So it sounded like Missoula got into it a little bit with Washburn, or not Missoula. Tatum got into it a little bit with Washburn after Game 3. I think he thought Washburn was challenging him on his lack of scoring in Game 3, and that Tatum does other things. How did you think Tatum performed in Game 3, and what did you make out of that exchange?
I don't think that he got into it with Washburn. I think he was. I mean, I was there. I wouldn't classify it as him addressing Washburn directly. I think he was addressing more the whatever critics are out there, maybe a Stephen A. Smith or somebody else. Because I took it as a very measured response of, as long as people are fair, like he accepts the criticism, and maybe some of the criticism that's been out there would be classified as unfair. I think that's why he said it the way he did. It was an interesting kind of beginning where he, swore and was like, okay, let's just tackle this head on. So I think that his performance was good in Game 3. He started out really, really well, and then he kind of tapered off, missing some shots later on. Missing a lot of mid-range shots, like fadeaway shots. I think that's something he's got to work on this summer. But I thought in Game 3 he was generally really good, and I think that if there's anything that kind of grinds his gears, so to speak, it's that people don't give him the credit for the rebounds. 13 rebounds and 6 assists and those kinds of things, where he is being asked to do a lot of these other things. And so I think that's why he put it the way he did. He needs to be the player that the Celtics are asking him to be. And that is more than scoring, because honestly, the Celtics are not at their best when Tatum is dropping 40 and 50 and looking like Anthony Edwards or Jamal Murray or, Luka Doncic. The Celtics are at their best when he's moving the ball, and guys like Derek White and Drew Holiday and other players are contributing 15 to 20 points. That's when the Celtics put up 120 and look like the best offense in the world.
So where do you put him in the top 10 in the NBA? I mean, you mentioned Edwards, who had 44 yesterday. Doncic had 35. Not Doncic. Jokic had 35. For varying results. But Tatum isn't scoring as much, but he does other things. Where do you put him?
Yeah, I don't think that Tatum is. I think Tatum's in the top 10. I think he's probably 5 or 6. Like I think where he's been ranked in the MVP voting is kind of accurate and indicative. But I think he's a first or second team All NBA guy this season. Some seasons he'll be a no doubt first teamer. Some seasons he'll be maybe borderline. And then I don't know if he works on a couple of things and maybe he elevates himself. But the way I always compare Tatum to other players like Luka or Jokic is Tatum is like a concert pianist who started out as a kid and really worked hard and went to the Boston Conservatory and went to like Juilliard and really trained hard. And those other guys are people who just picked it up by ear and figured it out, and they can both play amazingly. But the other guys just have this thing, this kind of like natural ability, where Tatum's ability is somewhat natural, but more honed and worked on. And so I think the other guys have an ability to kind of riff in the moment, and that makes them just a little bit more capable of the more special moments more often. Tatum has to work really hard to get his points, and that's why he does these other things, because he's got the size and all of that stuff. So still an amazing player, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm not high on Tatum. He's still like a top. Saying somebody's top 10 in the NBA is not a knock, and sometimes he's top 5.
Yeah, John, and I don't want to get too into the weeds in this, but what you said I think is really interesting about how he's kind of a little more methodical and a little more trained and honed. And one of the criticisms I've heard, and I think it was Washburn, as we just mentioned him earlier, said something like sometimes it's his in-game strategy where instead of like going inside early and making opponents respect his game down low and then going outside to shoot, sometimes he'll start shooting outside early and kind of doing things the opposite way than what he was trying before. And I wonder if he's overthinking himself in some of these situations, which ultimately results in him taking desperation shots both from the outside and down low. We've seen him, and I say this, you can set your watch at the point of the game where Tatum is just going to back himself down, dribble the ball like through the parquet, and take the shot no matter what. And I wonder if sometimes he's just over analyzing the situations both in game and in the moment.
I think there's times where he's looking for his own offense. It happens when he struggles, right? It's not going to happen very often when he comes out and is just in the flow of the game and the shots are falling early. If he's struggling early, or if he's struggled for a few games, then you'll see him tend to start to pull up a little bit from three, just kind of trying to see, do I have the three-pointer today? Can I find my three-pointer? And then if that's not falling, then he starts trying to find his offense somewhere else, because he does need to score. He does need to do that stuff. So he just has to do it differently. He has to find a different way. And that's why I keep saying that mid-range shot, that mid-range fadeaway that is not very efficient right now, he and Drew Hanlon, I think, have to spend the summer making that an efficient shot that just back down, spin over your right shoulder, fire and hit that. Kind of a Paul Pierce shot. He just needs to get a money, like automatic shot like that he can go to in the fourth quarter and close out games. I think, honestly, the biggest difference is when the fourth quarter comes around, you see these other guys just making shot after shot after shot. And Tatum hasn't done that for a while.
Did you see Donovan Mitchell get hurt during Game 3? Because I didn't see it. He's been off the floor for, I think, 24 minutes in this series, and the offensive rating for Cleveland when he's off the floor is under 70, which, if you don't know about advanced stats, is atrocious. So not having him would be a killer.
That fourth quarter, there was a point where he kind of went into the stands, and when he came out, he was really laboring. Like, it looked bad. And you saw the fourth quarter, there were 2, 3, 4 possessions there towards the end where he didn't even get involved in the play. So this is Donovan Mitchell, who's involved in every play. And then all of a sudden he was just kind of standing off to the side and letting Karis LeVert and Darius Garland kind of do their thing. That tells me that it's not just out of gas, because Donovan Mitchell can will himself to finding something on fumes. I don't think that knee is right. And before we started, I was looking at the shots that he was taking and the shots he was hitting over Al Horford. Lots of step backs to his left where you're pushing off that right leg. If that's not there for him, he's going to struggle.
If you were the Celtics and Porzingis was healthy enough to play, would you start playing him now?
I don't think I would push. Well, I'll put it this way. If he's 100% and he's 100%, whenever that is when that is. So if there's no risk to him being hurt, if he's coming back early and he says, I'm ready, and they're like, it's probably a little sore, I'm not playing him. But if they say he's 100% and 100% healed and there's nothing, then yeah, whenever he's ready, he's ready. But I'm not rushing him back in this series because I think the Celtics kind of have the blueprint, and it's on them. It's on them to play hard. And on top of that, if Donovan Mitchell's knee is a problem and he can't kind of will himself to some of the shots that he's making, then the rest of the Cavs kind of don't have what it takes. So I'm floating the test balloon here in Game 4. If the Celtics can take that 3-1 lead, then I don't think they need Porzingis at all. And I don't think they need Porzingis to take that 3-1 lead.
Whether or not they have Porzingis, does Cleveland win another game in this series?
They could, because they've been winning the shot margins. Like, I think it was like 84 to 80 shots attempted in the last game, and they took more 3-pointers. So that opens up the possibility of a Max Strus, Dean Wade, Darius Garland kind of hot shooting night, where if they're taking enough shots, the shooting variance can certainly give them one more game in their favor. That's why if the Celtics can go out in Game 4 and take more shots, like if they win the shot margin 90 to 80, then that's not enough shots. Even if the Cavs get hot, that's not enough shots to beat the Celtics. So that's where the Celtics need to focus and kind of take away that opportunity. But if the Cavs can put up as many or more shots than Boston, you're one guy's hot shooting night away from a tough loss.
All right, John Corrales, the Celtics beat writer for BostonSportsJournal.com, is covering the series, and he will be there tonight as the Celtics take on the Cavaliers in Game 4. The big tip-off is coming up at 7 o'clock. Very reasonable.
Love that.
John Corrales, hello. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, there you go. I was just reading something that came up on my phone and said hello. And so I'm like, hello.
Hello.
Hello. When did the Celtics, John, play someone that is interesting? It will not be till the finals.
Mitchell makes it interesting.
Mitchell makes it interesting, but it doesn't have a lot of juice. If the Celtics play the Knicks, does that count?
Sure.
It will be fun to get audio at the games for sure. That will be great. But in terms of a series, no I don't think
it won't be interesting until the NBA Finals because there are a lot of opponents there that really do.
Well, now it looks
a lot
like
of Western Conference opponents that do make it.
So the Denver, if you haven't been following it, Minnesota was up 2-0. Then now Denver's tied it. And the thing is, apparently Jokic, it took him a week, but he figured out how they're defending him. Boy, Jokic is even better than I thought.
Yeah.
So, I guess he figured out how they're defending him, and he was like, nah. And he's really, because Booker has been a disgrace in that series. Not Booker. Murray has been a disgrace in that series. He has been a baby. He's been throwing heating pads on the floor. Mm-hmm. He's been sulking. He's been not talking to the media.
Throwing the heating pad being thrown on the floor and the outrage.
Yes.
And the people just calling for his,
suspend him.
Suspend
him.
Meanwhile, and somebody did a great juxtaposition between that and the NHL playoffs where guys are literally trying to take each other's heads off.
Well, let's put it this way, is that we had an argument. I mean, we've had callers who called in, and now in fairness, they have ended up agreeing with us because they are just ignorant to the information, meaning that they haven't seen it. I mean, Bennett hit a star player in the face with a right hook. That player missed playoff games, and there's still debate if he should have been suspended. But I mean, I've heard. Did you hear Windhorst get all hot and bothered about the heating pad thing? He's like, he's an undisciplined maniac. He should be suspended. Windhorst almost started growing a beard.
Oh.
It was almost amazing. He almost forced himself.
Facial hair out of those follicles.
He almost became a man. It was very exciting for him. His testosterone got up to a 1.
By the way, replacements, pleased to meet me, 87. That contains Alex Chilton, Ken Hardley Wade, and the underrated Skyway. Maybe my favorite replacement song, Fred.
That's later replacements. Give me sorry, Ma forgot to take out the trash. Let's leave it at that.
89 was Don't Tell a Soul.
Yeah,
that contains I'll Be You and Talent Show. That's a good one.
They made it. Yeah, if they actually made a video for that, a real video.
And then 1 year later, they put out All Shook Down with the single merry-go-round.
But that was not that was an album that I don't believe they toured in support of. Have you ever read Trouble Boys?
No.
By Bob Mayer?
Nope.
Trouble Boys?
No. Should I read it?
Yes.
Okay. It's
going to frustrate you so much.
I saw the Replacements 2 times. Once when they were still drinking.
Oh, that's awesome.
And once when they were sober. The drinking show was great. They were a great band. It was a rock show. The sober version, they forgot the words to Can't Hardly Wait. Like, forgot how to play, like, their, earliest, biggest hit. And at one point in the show, about 10, 11 songs in, Tommy Stinson went up to the mic, looked at his watch, and said, "That's 45 minutes on the nose. Good night, folks." And they walked off
Punk
the
rock.
stage.
I'll tell you this, is that Trouble Boys, they blew every opportunity. They got second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances. They deliberately did it. They just had this incredible desire to self-sabotage.
So is this story true about Westerberg supposed to do an MTV Unplugged? Do you know this story?
I'm not sure if it's in there, but they did a million things.
Okay.
Getting drunk on Saturday Night Live, like they did a million things that like they did specifically to screw things up. Like they could have been the biggest band in the world. Like people wanted to make them the biggest band in the world. They're a band that really didn't get screwed. They screwed themselves. It's going to really upset you. And then there is for some reason, if I may be inside baseball here, for some reason on YouTube, the Replacements in like 1982 had a professional film crew in soundboard set up where they played 7th Avenue or 1st Avenue.
Yeah. Minneapolis, yeah.
Yeah. So it's them before Sorry Mom Forgot to Take Out the Trash came out, and it's a professional recording, multiple camera. Hachi Manchi.
Good stuff.
If you ever want to make a baby, you put that on.
Okay.
All right, there you go. We'll get back into the Bruins with Fluto Shinzawa and your calls. This show, John, will be evidence that this show in one way or another has been on the air on Sports Talk Radio since 2009. I cannot recall a time where we came on the air and blamed a game entirely on officiating. And that's what I am doing today. I don't know if the other shows will, but
I guarantee you the afternoon show won't. I guarantee that.
You think that they'll go take a contrarian angle?
No, usually not. But this time,
Mass
yes.
put something on Twitter that he was very upset that we were getting more than him in the bidding for the golf tournament.
Huh.
You check that out and give me the final results when we come back, Hardy.
Okay.
I got to go get my DPs.
You want to pick up my breakfast while you're down there?
Yeah, why not, buddy? I'll do it for you.
Thanks.
You never tried to get me fired. I'll go down there and get it for you, no problem.
Took until 8:38 this morning.
The over-under was 7:22.
You hold it on? Yeah, well,
In fairness.
you try to get me fired, I won't get your breakfast anymore. Especially when I'm out with I can't talk. That would not be the time to get me fired, you piece of garbage. All right, we'll be back.
Sports Hub headline.
what they play at the gym where he goes to. Gymboree. This is where they work on his motor coordination. Getting around with that big old butt.
Fred picked up my breakfast from downstairs for me. Wasn't that nice of him?
Yes. I thought it was very nice of him.
I almost want to let you off the hook for that 20 you owe me, but I'm not going to.
I don't have $20 on me. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, you'll have to bring
You know why I put it in the I put it in at church.
All right, there you go. Did you do anything for Mother's Day before your mom left yesterday, Fred?
I gave her a card and I gave her a big hug. They had a 1:30 flight, so they left the house at 8:30 in the morning. And so I gave her a big hug and I took the bags out to the car. And then I went with my the mother of my children and the children, and I took them out to brunch. And then my dad had been in my house, and my dad lies prone quite a bit. And my dog had decided that it was never going to stop biting him. Like, it just bit him like the entire time that we were there. And my dad didn't do anything to stop it. It would take his hearing aid out. It would take his glasses off. It took his watch off. The dog. I'm not lying to you. There was one point I came down there, and my dad played golf with him and stuff, right? My dad's sitting there without his hearing aid, without his glasses, and without a no hearing aid, no glasses, no watch. And the dog is just, so I had to take the dog to the dog park for like 10 hours yesterday. I took it for like seriously 2 hours. And by the way, props to the guy from Newton Parks, the old guy that walks around handing out flyers. Because like, well done. Like, way to like actually do the job. First of all, I don't know who's like, oh my, I'm going to go get this license right away, sir, as you are not an officer of any law. But just like to stand around and then he takes like a picture of your dog. For what? What are you going to do with the picture of my dog?
I'd rather not think about that. Does he have any official titles? He
wears like a hat that looks like he made it.
Like, does he wear a pith helmet? Do you call himself Constable?
Yeah, he's like, it's crazy.
What is your role here, sir? Well, I am a notary public.
I
have a flashlight.
Look at my stamp.
Yeah.
I am going to walk very slowly and just bother you. That's all I'm going to do. And then I hold no title. I mean, you could easily call the police as easily as I could. Like, he has the bags that the crap go in, and he refills those, and then, which I imagine is really his job. And then he lingers, and he lingers for like an hour. He just like lingers around.
Yeah.
Like, if I had that job,
is he friendly with the dogs? Do like the dogs like him? Does he go up to the dogs? Like that, to me, that would be something that you would almost do for free. It's like, I just love the dog park. I love being around dogs.
But everyone hates him, so it's. But
did the dogs like him?
I don't know. He smells like bologna, so I'd imagine yes. All right. So last night, again, the Bennett's goal should not have counted. It's one of the most odd things I've ever seen. You got a clip of it there, Hardy. One of the most odd things that I've seen. It goes to review. He clearly cross-checks Charlie Coyle into Swayman. That's a goal.
Near point Bennett. High slot, bump to the right circle. Here it comes. Tarasenko's drive blocked. Chopped out in front. Swayman the save. They score. Backdoor. It's Sam Bennett. With 2 seconds left on the Lindholm penalty.
Which was an absolute joke of a penalty to begin with. And not long after that, they start looking at it and realize that Montgomery is going to challenge this thing.
Lundell was the guy out in front.
Looking.
Bennett hit Coyle
It's
into
Bennett,
Swayman.
It's Bennett cross-checking Coyle into Swayman.
That's when they realize what's going on, because in real time, it kind of just looks like a hockey play. It doesn't necessarily look like the missed penalty. And I'll
well, that's the benefit of replay. I mean,
exactly.
In hockey, like if there's a bunch of traffic in front of the net, it's impossible to know what happened with the naked eye in real time. A lot of times. That's why it's such a difficult game, I'd imagine, to call.
Yes.
But that's why when you go for 4.5 minutes and have people sitting in a room with every conceivable angle possible, slowing the video down to any speed they so desire, you would assume that the correct call would be made.
The question is, do the guys in the Situation Room see it the same way as we do?
No, they don't. But it's it's definitely a cross-check. Coyle's right there, and he cross-checks him into Swayman. It's definitely not a goal. And Bennett should be going to the box.
That's the most pissed I've ever heard Beers during a game, and I listen to him a lot. I probably heard 60 parts of 60 games he's called this year.
He's the epitome of measured when he's on this show.
He's Peter Bradying his voice. He's getting upset enough that his voice is like going up an octave.
We're not going to allow cross-checks, but we're going to allow cross-checks that cause a goalie interference and a goal to be scored. But we're going to crack down on the cross-checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is pissed. Not happy.
No. And so they go on, they count that goal. Now it's 2-2. And then there's a terrible goal by Barkov. He gets through McAvoy, among others. But you can't. But to that, I'm like, who knows what happens if they disallow that goal? The Bruins are still up 2-1. Like, certainly a world doesn't exist where that play happens because the game's different.
The Bruins are still up 2-1, and they don't have to spend the next following 2 minutes on the penalty kill.
Again, they were on the penalty kill for 8 out of 10 minutes of the third period. 8 out of 10 minutes. And then they did the dumb thing when they had the penalty and they had 6 men on the ice and they just screwed around with the puck. Remember when they called the penalty and they just screwed around with the puck?
They couldn't get the puck in.
They couldn't even get the puck into Florida
messed
zone.
around in the neutral zone for about half a minute.
They
and
made
then
like
turned
7
the puck
shift changes.
Oh,
like they counted every.
The extra man somehow couldn't get them into the offensive zone to set up.
They had water. They had a water break. They had some leftover chicken parm from Tresca that they gave to the announcer.
Well, that was good.
You know I love my chicken parm, and so I grabbed some chicken parm as you did, Brendan Burke, and it was a healthy dose of parm.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We're happy.
The parm was chicken, and parm is short for Parmesan.
And by the way, Tresca, of course, co-owner Ray Bork, the Hall of Famer and the legend here in the Boston area. Thanks to Billy Jackie for helping us out and setting us up over there.
It's a fantastic meal, so we're attributing both Swayman's performance and our broadcast to that restaurant, I guess.
Who is the play-by-play guy? He's atrocious.
I don't know.
He sucked.
But you know where to go to get a good chicken parm sandwich, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, I'll
how
tell
do
you.
you go to get a good chicken parm sandwich, Fred?
You got to find a place that has good chicken parm. I want to thank Wiggins for telling me where to go. Jermaine Wiggins, he said, just find a place that serves chicken parm.
That's the first thing you have to do.
He said he gave me the heads up in Boston. If you want good chicken parm, to look for a place that has good chicken parm.
Yes.
That's
what you do. Thank you so much to Jermaine Wiggins.
I thought of Wiggy the other day when Keith Lockhart was in here going to one of the other studios. And there's
my buddy.
There's a clip of him being on the 96.9 morning show when Wiggy was still on there, and he said, where do you have those concerts? I said, why, it's Symphony Hall, Jermaine. Well, the Boston Symphony, where do you play your concerts? Symphony Hall. Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, where are you going to find that information? Did you know he's from East Boston?
I've heard that, yes.
It's amazing. The phone rings away as Nicholas has left the room. Are you witnesses to this? Nicholas is nowhere to be found.
Uh-oh.
We've taken probably about 15 phone calls today.
We got him.
There we go. We've taken about 15 phone calls today, but now is the time to leave. During a break, he's making a video.
Oh, I miss Wiggy's rap.
Oh, yeah. You gonna do something? Oh, you want me to do something? I thought I was free for. I thought it was hype fun.
Oh, you wanted me to do something? No. I didn't want you to do anything. This is exactly what I wanted you to do.
I forgot you were witness to that. I forgot you were sitting right next to what had
doing
happened.
a weekend show with Wiggy.
Yeah.
He started to do the song. I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side, and then he forgot the lyrics. He even forgot the real lyrics. Wiggins is the best. When I had that GT Performer that Nick put together for me, that little like freestyle bike, like all of us were like struggling riding it. Wiggins gets on that thing. He's doing like,
the Miami Hopper.
Oh, he's doing a cherry picker. I'll tell you that. I used to be able to do a cherry picker. That's no lie. Endo into wheelie, get on the back pegs, sit on the reversed handlebars.
I bet you could. Hell yeah. You freestyle children. It was
practice.
I was racing at Waterford when you guys were doing your freestyle.
You were from Canton. That was a dirt road town. Scrubs.
I was from Troy, and yes, I did grow up on a dirt road for the first 10 years of my life.
Yeah, they didn't even bother paying for the road.
Oh, is that right?
No, he was out in the country. Let's be honest. It's
Nice.
not the country anymore.
But it was.
But that was like even past white flight. They were like past where white flight
No, there were
went.
still farms.
Yeah. Like Farmington Hills was like the beginning of white flight. Southfield really. But then Farmington Hills.
No,
was-
I was more Michigan militia.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Like where I grew up, everyone's parents went to school in Detroit. Hardy grew up where no one's parents went to high school.
I see.
My mother went to Mercy in Detroit.
Mercy's in Birmingham.
No,
Detroit Mercy.
Detroit Mercy. Yeah, girls' school.
Yeah. I think that's in Birmingham.
No.
There's one on Maple Road in Birmingham.
Well, not when she went there in the 50s.
No, I know where your mom went to school. I'll tell you. All right, Fluto Shinzawa will join us. He's always measured. He knows a ton about hockey. We'll see what he has to say about this mess.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Cat's Guys Cat Guard exclusion system is the permanent solution to keep rodents and wildlife sealed out.
Bruins, Revs, and Patriots.
Touchdown, Patriots.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5 The Sports Hub. Easily media group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Big trouble now for the Bruins, who blew a 2-0 lead at home and lost to Florida again last night, 3-2. Alexander Barkov scored the tie-breaking goal with 12:29 left after Sam Bennett tied it after seemingly pushing Charlie Coyle into Jeremy Swayman to give himself an empty net to shoot at. Jim Montgomery thought at the time the goal shouldn't have counted and hadn't changed his mind after the game was over.
We thought that Coyle was on top of our goaltender. And if Coyle was able to stand his ground, he could have cleared the puck. That inhibited our goaltender from being able to react to play in the puck.
The Bruins now trail this series 3-1. Game 5 is in Florida tomorrow night. Celtics had last night off. They'll play in Cleveland again tonight, leading that playoff series 2-1. The big story now lies with the home team. They've listed Donovan Mitchell as questionable with a left calf strain. Jared Allen also questionable as well. Kristaps Porzingis remains out for the Celtics. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on the BetMGM 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Atlanta won the draft lottery yesterday. The NFL's regular season schedule will be announced Wednesday night. The league did announce this morning Baltimore will visit Kansas City on opening night in an AFC Championship game rematch. And the Red Sox beat the Washington Nationals 3-2 at Fenway Park yesterday. Cutter Crawford pitches tonight as they open up a 4-game series at Fenway against Tampa Bay. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Get your heat pump system from Rodenheiser Home Services with free estimates and upfront flat rate pricing. They are your heat pump experts. Schedule at Rodenheiser.com today. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Spirited Sports Talk.
I have one ear and I got that.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Ta-da! We're back with Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's like Nick was DJing bar mitzvahs in 1984 with this music.
That's a great song, though.
This is most famous for being in the movie Stripes during the John Candy scene.
It's most famous for hand me down my walking cane and hand me down my hat.
Okay.
This
What are
is
you
the song
talking
they
about?
played when Adam became a man. Watch Touch. What was the theme of your bar mitzvah?
I didn't have one. We talked about this. Oh, is that a setup to make me look bad?
I don't need a setup to make you look bad. You turned your back on your Lord and Savior. Watch Toucher and Hardy every morning on YouTube, including the man who now is married to Goyam. Fluto Shinzao is a senior writer for The Athletic. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Fluto, hello, sir.
Good morning.
Hey, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Okay, your thoughts about I'm just going to leave the floor open to you. Your thoughts about last night.
Well, that's a penalty all day. A goal overturned all day, and you could call it a penalty too. If some refs would not be out of line in terms of calling Sam Bennett for a cross-check on Charlie Coyle on the power play, and then you look at the play, you hear what Jeremy Swayman and Charlie Coyle and Jim Montgomery said. What was the goalie supposed to do? You got a big man in Charlie Coyle, 6'3", 220 pounds. He's on top of his right pad. He can't get over because he's been knocked into Jeremy by Bennett. And I guess the league rules that it happened so quickly that he wouldn't have, if the impediment hadn't been in place, that Jeremy still wouldn't have had time to get over there to stop Bennett's shot. I don't know. That's a tough call. So the Panthers are up 3-1. They deserve to be up 3-1. The Bruins needed some breaks to be competitive, and they didn't get any last night. And we haven't even talked about Sam Bennett on Brad Marchand.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that too, Fluto. I just want to be clear, though, because there was some confusion last night.
If you were watching it on TV, the dumb play-by-play guy couldn't get over himself. He was trying to justify the call over and over again.
And they were just clarifying that they could not have gone back and retroactively called the penalty on Bennett. What you're saying is some officials would have called the cross-check on Bennett in the moment, but at the very least, once they saw the replay, disallowed the goal because of that cross-check.
Of course. You look at the way the rule is written. If a defending player is pushed into the goalie by an attacking player, then the goal is disallowed. And that's what the replay showed.
You're in the press area? Is everyone just completely shocked? I know it's not. You guys aren't like yelling and screaming and stuff or rooting up there, but was everyone like, Jesus, I can't believe this just happened?
Well, I can only speak to my own reaction. I'm looking at it thinking, okay, that's a goal. And then you look at you see it being challenged and you're like, well, what's going on here? Because you didn't see the actual interference at first, but then you see the cross check and how Charlie Coyle got sent right into the goalie. Then you're thinking, oh, this is coming back. And you look at the actual moment of the game. The coaches know, Jim Montgomery knows, the video coaches know if that's a good goal, then they're back on the kill. And what team wants to go on the kill right after you had the game tied? So they had to be certain that goal was going to be overturned, and it was not.
What do you think Jim Montgomery should get on the officials more off ice, like in front of the mics? You've heard coaches work on officials. There was talk of Brad Marchand during the Toronto series yelling at Montgomery for not going after the officials enough. You've seen coaches do it. Do you think Montgomery's too soft-spoken when it comes to this stuff?
No, he was giving it to one of them pretty good.
Yeah, on the bench. I'm talking about after the games, before the games. I'm talking about that.
Oh, sure, yeah, and Don Sweeney, that's part of his job too in the series is that Don has direct communication with the series supervisor from the league, who's in charge of the referees, and Don's actually going to address the media this afternoon, which is unusual for Don. So maybe he has something to say about Bennett, about Marchand, about Coyle, about Swayman, about all that. But bottom line is the Bruins are in one, and they're going to need some breaks to keep on playing, and so far they haven't gotten any.
Okay, well, you mentioned the Bennett hit on Marchand. We hadn't seen the angle that shows that he threw a right hook to Marchand's face until this weekend. That video, now everyone's seen it. Oh, well, actually, some of our listeners haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, Bennett hits Marchand with the right hook. Fluto, in your opinion, first of all, what could the league have done? Should they have done something if they could? And what is your feeling on the whole situation?
At least a fine. Yes, the video did not. We did not see that angle until yesterday, Sunday. So it's whatever happened in terms of the league. A, they didn't have that angle, or B, they had that angle and they saw nothing worth either a suspension or a fine. Either way, it's egregious. It's egregious because it's clear as day from that angle that he's skating right at him. He's bracing for the hit, but he slugs him. He gets in that right hand right to Brad, the side of his head. So and we didn't see that angle before, and you could kind of make a case that maybe there wasn't something there in terms of the other angles, and you had the slow motion and all that, but that angle shows it clear as day. So I don't know why the league didn't see merit in terms of at least a fine, and I think that would have made the Bruins at least kind of feel a little bit better about the situation. But to have Bennett skate completely, it's a mystery.
And am I wrong in thinking that the league or the officials before the game would at least have the inclination, if they did not say to Bennett, like, we're keeping an eye on you, like that becomes a part of the focus of the officials because they know there could be retribution. They know that Bennett's skating on thin ice. Do you think that he would become like a player of more note to them than usual?
You're talking about last night?
Yes, like before the game last night, like during the game. I just want to say, because it was Bennett that did the cross-check that scored the goal, that it's even more bothersome to me because, like, Bennett was a player of focus, right? Like, despite the fact that they didn't fine him or suspend him, they know that he hit Marchand. They knew Marchand wasn't playing in the game. Like, wouldn't he be you'd focus more on him, you would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we all saw Maroon going after him all night too, and the rest of the players too. So yes, you would think that. I don't know if either of the referees had a word with Bennett, but the general overview is that the league has instructed everybody to be on watch during the series, and this was before all of this nonsense. The after Kachuk, Dex, Pastrnak, it was the red lights were on all over the place in terms of this is going to be highly scrutinized, and we're going to be keeping an eye on everything. So who knows? Maybe that message got crossed up somewhere because, that's some calls have slipped through.
Yeah, and just the last thing I'll ask on officiating, Lindholm with the two. I mean, it was the power play on the Lindholm interference call, and then they got called on another one against Kachuk, and I don't know what the hell's going on there. I know your job's not to just focus on the officiating, and that hasn't been the entire series, but it was really bad last night. Did you think those Lindholm interference calls were justified?
Borderline, but hey, you can make the case that Charlie McAvoy's hit on Sam Reinhart was borderline too. Like some referees would have called that interference just because the puck's not really there. So okay, there's a little bit of gray area in terms of those, but the bottom line is the Bruins. That takes away so much momentum when you are playing on the line and possibly being undisciplined and going to the box. You can't. You have to play a perfect game, get some luck, get the goaltending A+, and get breaks to beat them because the Panthers are so much better than the Bruins. So much.
Yeah, that's obvious.
And
yeah.
None of this is lining up for them, so you have to stay out of the box against these guys.
Is it over now, do you think? With this loss, is there a way that the Bruins can win this series, in your opinion?
Well, the goalie has to be outstanding. It has to be. Jeremy has to steal 3 straight games. That's a tough ask, just because of they've gotten to him, and he can't be perfect. You can't. That's no formula for success to cross your fingers and pray that your goalie can save you, because we've seen as good as he was in the first period. I don't know about that Lundell goal.
Right.
That was quick. Yeah. There were some bodies in front, but I don't think he was expecting it. He has to be expecting it. That was a quick play. I don't know if that's a goal that should go in. But again, you can't. The volume of shots that Florida is taking on the Bruins, in comparison to what the Bruins are getting on Bobrovsky, who has not been good, it's one-sided. So it doesn't look good for the Bruins, especially if Brad is unable to go. But that's just one of the reasons why they're not in it. The bottom line is the Panthers are better.
And 2 quick things, Fluto. The shot disparity, because we're all about the officials today and those calls yesterday, but the fact that when they did get a shot early on goal from Carlo, they scored. And there's something to be said for just taking shots when there isn't a bunch of traffic in front of the net. How much of this, do you blame on the continuing inability of the Bruins just not being able to get any shots anywhere near the net?
Yeah, they don't have the puck enough to shoot, so that's got to improve. They have to improve their possession. But yes, that was a cupcake that Carlo threw on net, and look what happens. Yep. So the more the volume goes up, the better the chances are. Now this kind of goes counter to what the Bruins have played, that they prefer shot quality over quantity. They want 2 bodies in front. If it's a point shot, they want at least 2 bodies in front taking away the goalie's eyes. If it's an unscreened shot from the outside, that's a turnover sometimes in their eyes. They want to wait for bodies. They want to wait for some havoc to take place in front of the net to improve their chances of going in. But you can't always wait for the perfect play, especially in the playoffs, especially when you have no more margin for error left. So and you look at the way the goalies played, not good enough for Florida. So that's yes. That is on the coaching staff too, to have some wiggle room in terms of the game plan to say, hey, you got to get pucks on this guy. You have to. It doesn't have to be perfect, but let's pump up the volume in terms of the shot quantity.
And I apologize if you mentioned this already, but is there an update on Marchand in terms of what exactly he's dealing with or when he might be back?
No, we won't know until this afternoon. Perhaps the GM will address it, whether he's traveling, even whether he's going to play next game. We don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Fluto
Fluto.
Shinzao, you're the best senior writer for The Athletic. Thank you so much for the time. Read him in The Athletic. I do. Thank you, Fluto.
My pleasure, guys.
Thanks.
All right, there you go. I love Fluto. He knows very much about hockey.
He's the best.
Everyone else, there's a lot of people traveling.
Yes.
Because we tried to get Bobby for earlier in the show. We were going to have Fluto and Bobby Beers. And I had to reach out to him directly because Dan's faking being sick.
Yeah.
He gave me the throwing up emoji.
Oh,
What is it?
I mean, like, really? Like, who misses work? What kind of fool doesn't have the work ethic to come in every day?
Right. You call him out, Freddie T.
I mean, some of us have been to work every day, have not taken a sick day for at least 5 months. I mean, it's been something. Johnny, just you and I are old soldiers, man.
They just keep
They don't
going.
make them like us anymore.
They just keep going.
They don't make them like us anymore.
We're inspirational, is what we are.
And if one of us is out, you got to sleep in your car. It's a whole thing.
Hey,
The amount of work is overwhelming, John. And you have to sleep in your car because you're exhausted because your partner's gone.
How long did it take? Did you have any sick days left when you went off to the puzzle factory, or had you used them all up by then?
I used. That was only two. That was only two vacation. I used two vacation days.
Puzzle Factory? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used 2 vacation days.
Right.
That was 2 vacation days. I missed the 5 weeks because of my throat.
Yes.
But during those 5 weeks, I'm told it was almost hallucinations from the grueling workload.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Well,
have you ever done the show without me?
Wallach.
Have you ever done the show without me?
Yes.
I take it you slept in your car that you were so exhausted.
What are you doing?
Because I made John laugh. That's the only
told
reason.
you. It's good. I wasn't ready for it. That was good.
Don't do it.
How you doing? I'm sleeping in my car. Why? Why do you lie about everything?
Oh.
All right.
We gotta break. Let's go.
We'll be back
Is.
in just one moment.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports. on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. I was just telling Hardy that I saw our own Andrew Callahan out at the Red Sox game on Saturday.
Yep.
Where you can get in and sit behind the visitors' dugout a couple rows back for $70. $20 lift. I can tell you the truth. $20 lift ride, $140 in tickets. I bought a soda for me. My son didn't want one. I bought 2 sodas and a slice of pizza. And the cab was $60 back because it's a cab, and they go so $80. So for about $250, me and my son went to the 4 p.m. total everything
behind home plate,
behind visitor dugout.
Oh
yeah,
lots of listeners,
a lot of late arriving crowds at Fenway.
Let me go ahead and ask
there were
something.
a lot of people there. It's just cheap.
Fenway, Fred, aren't you close to a green line stop? You could take that over to Fenway or Kenmore.
Yeah, the thing is that it's okay. So the timing of it would take me. Say if I did that, I would have to leave an hour before the game, and if I take a lift, I can take it 20 minutes before the game. I have to walk a half a mile of the green line. That green, it's the C line. Then that drop you off at Longwood. And then it's a half a mile from there.
Oh, you have to take. Okay.
I mean, I could get dropped off at Fenway, but that's the stop after Longwood. And it's kind of equidistance. I've taken the train there before. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
It's just the difference between paying $20 and if I take a lift home. My son was just I'm tired. Can we just get in this cab? If I would have walked down to the tap house room or whatever the hell the place is and ordered an Uber, it would have been $40 total.
Yeah.
So it's $40 to be able to leave later, and that's it. That's basically it. I don't mind the walk. It's just, my son got to my house, 5 minutes after we were supposed to leave.
Yeah.
Everything's going on. All right. Do you got any emails of note that you
Wallach is just champing at the bit over there. He said, I got something.
I
Give
got
him a new
something
bit.
from our guy Riz. First shout out to Twitch/YouTube fam. But he said, your boy Riz, just a casual Bruins fan, and I'll watch them every night. I don't live and die by them. They're the hometown team, so of course I root for them. It's way too much bitching about the referees and how Florida plays. To me, the Bruins are just a bunch of soft-ass mofos. Bruins don't have that dog in them when it comes to physical teams. They get pushed around, and the series is over. Instead of blaming the other team, blame the players and that weak-ass coach.
Yeah, but this one was especially the officiating. Look, the Panthers are better. They're better coached. They have better talent. But the Bruins should have won that game. That particular game, they should have won. And the officiating is the reason that they lost that game. Listen, the Panthers had way more shots. They had way more zone time, everything. But that goal shouldn't have counted. And everything that happened after that goal is a universe where none of that. Who knows what would have happened? But that wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been the penalty kill. There wouldn't have been they called 4 penalties against the Bruins in the span of 10 minutes in the third period.
It's kind of like we were discussing about how Cleveland actually has to play to win a game against the Celtics. They have a certain path they have to take because the Celtics are so much better. It's the same thing for the Bruins. Things have to happen in order, in just the right way for the Bruins to beat the Florida Panthers now, and the referees took all of that off the table last night. They had no chance because the referees took it out of their hands. That's the most frustrating thing of all.
Yeah, and again, we've been doing this since 2009. A lot of times I like the outcome of the game, I kind of move on. And I didn't think the Bruins obviously were going to win this series, but last night was BS. I mean, it was like a JV game. It was just a crap network, a crap play-by-play guy, crap officiating on the ice, a crap league making the decisions behind the scenes, a crap explanation as to why they did it. They couldn't even figure it out on TV. I wish I was listening to the radio. I really wish I was listening to the radio. Maybe I'll start syncing them up. I usually thought that was insane, but maybe I will. because I like the radio broadcast so much more.
I have another.
Boy, that guy was a dick last night trying to explain that away. Go ahead.
I have another thing from Jack and a Prius. The Bruins have to change their breakout. Toronto figured it out after 5 games. Florida already has too much passing. Skate with the puck. Take the ice they give you. Panthers are just pressuring the puck and waiting in passing lanes. The only time the Bruins have generated anything in the first period or at the times they actually carried the puck up the ice.
They got to find a way, say what they want to say, break out, and play with fabric in the video. Do you think the dudes in that band were gay? What do you want to do for the video shoot? Let's go to a fashion house and throw fabric. Talking about the
name of that group is
Sister. What's it? Swing Out Sister.
Yes, that's right.
Do you want me to read this email? I'm going to ask you if you want me to read it. I'm going to ask you. It's short. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Hardy, you have to.
I don't know what this. What it's
I'm not
about.
sure what
it's
it
called
is.
Work Issue.
Oh,
no, I don't know.
No, do not read that.
Because I can tell by the
No.
smile on your face what it's about.
It's
no,
from,
I don't
it's
want
from
you to
a
read
man
it.
by named Dan. Would you like me to read it?
Dan O'Brien?
No.
No.
I say do not read that email.
Okay.
If you're asking the question, you know the answer.
Okay. I'll take your advice.
Okay. You okay over there?
I want to read it.
I know. No kidding.
All right. This is from Charles. Good evening, Fred. I believe I've successfully decoded Kyrie Irving's career in successes and failures, and it boils down to one point. He wants to be in a submissive relationship. Please see the stages below. Cleveland years, the good times Kyrie exists, and is good number 2. Yes. But that's what he wrote in the email. But LeBron is the biggest alpha ego that exists at the time. They win the championship. Kyrie kind of whines and doesn't get credit. And Bron breaks up with him. This will be the best moment of Kyrie's life, and it's all about to go downhill. Celtics year solo act. Kyrie is clearly the center of attention and has other quote-unquote stars with him in Gordon Hayward, white submissive gamer nerd, and young JB and JT. Please let us kiss your feet, Kyrie. Yes. Kyrie wonders why no one asks him why and decides the earth is not round in these years and decides most things can be reversed by Sage. These are bad years. Then he goes into Brooklyn and Dallas, and he says, Kyrie's the worst, but at least we know why. Thank you for reading Best Charlie. Isn't that interesting?
That's nice.
Kyrie's a sub. And you told us off air, John, that Bronny James has been cleared medically to enter the NBA draft. And it looks like J.J. Redick, who hosts a podcast with LeBron James. You guys haven't listened to it?
I have seen YouTube clips of it.
I have not. I did not know it exists. The only reason I know it exists is because J.J. Redick is about to be named the new coach of the L.A. Lakers.
Yeah,
Bronny James. L.A. Lakers, by the way, like the franchise in the NBA.
Yes.
Is about to sign J.J. Redick as coach and sign the son. The son who averaged 7 points a game at USC.
Under 5 points
Under
a game.
5 points a game at USC.
And came off the bench for a team that finished under 500.
So a team that lost in the first round this year is going to honor the wishes of a 50-year-old that's making $50 million a year. They're going to get his no-talent son on the team and allow some jabroni to coach them.
Mm-hmm.
They just handed the franchise over.
That's correct.
The Bus families just said, take it.
Mm-hmm.
Just as long as they're making documentaries about my dad, I don't care. Here, take the franchise. Do whatever you want. And what a terrible move for Bronny James. Like, now his life is just, this is going to be his life. It would be better if he just never played professionally or played overseas and did it on his own.
Just do something completely separate. It's like we all decided and said when Steve Belichick left to go be the coordinator out in Washington, good. Go do something separate. Now, it turns out that he didn't have the option of working with his dad again, but to go off and do something on your own is bad enough when you accept the nepotism to, get a job in the first place. But at some point, you got to do something on your own. And for Bronny, there's, I would say, almost a certainty based on the way he's played in college that he's not going to be an actual NBA player. So your only foray into the NBA is going to be as a result of a favor?
Take what you will from LeVar Ball, but his kids can play. Lonzo and LaMelo
yeah.
play.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all crazy about the father.
No, I said that he
can. Those
he
two
accomplished
kids can play.
He accomplished whatever they grow up to be or how happy they be is that's well beyond what I know. But if his goal was to raise two boys, he had three sons. If his goal was to raise NBA players, he achieved his goal. He did what he wanted to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is great. I mean, the odds of that happening are phenomenally long. So, I mean, he did an amazing thing.
Lonzo may never play again, but at least he had a decent
Whatever.
NBA
He
career.
was a top 3 pick in the
Yes.
draft. I mean, the guy, now, is this the way we're put on this earth and the reason we have children to raise them to fill our ego? Is that these are debates that we can have. But if his goal was to get his kids in the NBA, he achieved his goal.
Same thing with Richard Williams, and then he was portrayed in a very favorable light by Will Smith, and everything worked out well for the whole thing, including the night where they were all celebrated.
Well, more comedians need to be. I wish that at the Brady roast you just could slap everyone. You can't say that. Don't say that about me. That would have been funny if the first thing he did is he just decked Brady, decked Ross in the face. Ross, well, you can't make fun of OJ
Keep my
like that.
former owner's name out your mouth.
And then you hit him.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Two things to get to in the stack, Fred. Number one, controversy from the Sports Hub Golf Club yesterday morning. Which I'm sure. What are you laughing
I saw
at?
this in the Slack. I
This
thought this was an inside joke for our benefit. You're going to take it to the airwaves. Very good.
What's funny about it? There's controversy involving the premier Sunday morning golf show in New England. And it's a controversial thing that happened.
How many Sunday morning golf shows are there in New England?
Well, I don't think that's the joke.
Controversy.
All right.
Also, Glenn Davis is looking on the bright side of life these days.
Yeah, Washburn had an article about Glenn Davis.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to make the most of it.
Baby's a positive thinker.
Yes, he is.
He's taking everything very seriously. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins lost to the Florida Panthers at TD Garden last night, 3-2, and now find themselves in a 3-1 hole in that best-of-7 second-round playoff series. The next game is Game 5 tomorrow night down in Florida. Celtics in action tonight in Cleveland, up 2-1 in that second-round best-of-7 playoff series. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 on the BetMGM 98.5, the Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Kristaps Porzingis out again for the Celtics. Cavaliers have listed both Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen as questionable. The NFL's regular season schedule will be announced Wednesday night. The league did announce this morning Baltimore will visit Kansas City on opening night, and the Red Sox beat the Washington Nationals at Fenway Park yesterday 3-2. They'll play Tampa Bay at Fenway Park tonight with Cutter Crawford getting the start. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Best Ford. Looking for great deals on a new Ford? Go to the Best first. Best Ford in Nashua. Head to bestfordofnashua.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Oh, Hardy.
What?
Did you know
What?
that Dunkin' just released a new energy drink called Sparked?
Yes, I've had it. It's delicious. It's revitalized.
listening to the home of the Bruins.
McAvoy coming from deep in his own zone. Backhand. He scores!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
In the office, in your car, in your footy pajamas, this is how Boston sports fans start their day.
I bet you're just jealous.
Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. The Stack is brought to you by Best Ford in Nashua. Looking for great deals on new Fords? Go to the Best First. Best Ford in Nashua. Head to the bestfordnh.com.
Why would you think that I only put this into our Slack for show entertainment purposes only? Why would you think I would not take this to air?
Did anyone actually listen to this clip on the show? It was in Slack.
This,
did
this
anyone
is about
actually
to be
listen
hurtful.
to the clip?
This is going to be hurtful.
I did not. I'm very sorry, Hardy. I did not.
Lockhart did.
Okay.
And Nick did not.
Okay.
And I did not. So you put it in Slack. And
Beaton put it in Slack because Beaton was producing the golf show yesterday. He is the executive producer of the Sports
so we
Hub
have two
Golf
people.
Club.
The two people that heard it.
Well, someone else heard it, and that is somebody by the name of Brett 2.0, who is familiar to Mike Lockhart because I think he was a contributor to the fantasy show. Is that too much? All right. He had things that he liked to say about fantasy football. According to Mike, lots of graphs with lots of dots on it.
Sounds like a guy who's very involved with radio on that's weekend mornings.
Well, I'm doing my show live from the compound yesterday, and I'm talking about the story with which I'm sure you're all familiar, Rory McIlroy now being part of this transaction and transition committee as the PGA Tour explores more relationships with LIV.
Controversial issue.
It's a very controversial issue. He is off the advisory board, but he's back onto this transition board.
The whole trans community is you got to celebrate them.
That's right.
And not you got to
right.
educate yourself.
That's right. And John Henry is now involved because of the Fenway Sports Group and their investment into the PGA Tour. Brett says, very strange, almost suspicious, about how Rob Poole's live, in parentheses, question mark, golf advertorial got cut just as he was about to address John Henry's role in the LIV merger. Now, one thing I take exception with, live question mark, yes, I was live. Advertorial, I do not take exception to because large chunks of the Sports Hub Golf Club do sound like advertisements. But I've said this from the start, Fred. Golfers love to be sold to. They love equipment. I think at every golfer's core, they are a gearhead, shoes, clubs, new places to play, whatever. So I don't make any, I don't try and hide that at all. We talk about stuff that you can buy all the time. But he's saying that something got cut off in the middle of it, and he thinks it's a conspiracy. You hear for yourself, which I thought was ridiculous. And then I heard it back as it went on the air. I did not know transmission had been cut or why.
Neither did anyone else.
That's not nice.
Except this lunatic.
That's not nice at all.
Bastard.
That's wrong.
Listen, if you were...
Man works hard 2 hours a week on this.
If for
Just for free things. Just to get free stuff.
That's not even true. It's for my love of the game. Try it. Try loving something and see how that works out for you.
Oh, I love my children so much.
Maybe you should do a parenthood show Sunday mornings.
Maybe I should.
All right, so this
Get
is how
me a
this is
lady in a
how it went
football
down
player.
yesterday.
Joseph Gorder, who is the former CEO of Valero Energy, he's been elected as the PGA Tour Enterprises Board of Directors chairman.
It's a good show, by the way, just so you know. Okay? Keep listening.
And now he's also going to head up this transaction committee. Joe Ogilvy will be on there along with John Henry. John Henry, oh yeah, remember that story?
The feed fell asleep.
Transmission cut just as I was talking about John Henry. It did sound suspicious, though. I'll give him that. Fred. You can't even deny that. All right, did you hear what Glenn Davis is looking forward to in jail?
The Sunday Golf Club, because it will know that it could be worse.
You think they get perks like being able to listen to the Sports Hub Golf Club while they're in jail?
I think if they're in solitary, the only thing they're given is a radio that plays the Sports Hub Golf Show on loop.
It's like a Waco situation.
Yeah, they try to just their brain explodes.
Glenn Big Baby Davis says prison sentence will help him keep away from burgers. He was sentenced to 40 months in prison for insurance for his insurance fraud scheme. Now, we were talking about this the other day, like how much time will they actually serve? Because it is a federal sentence, he has to serve more than maybe what you would.
Yeah, that's what people were saying to me. Like I said, like he got 40 months, and I'm like, I wonder how much he'll do. And we were saying he wouldn't do much, and then I got a bunch of emails from people more familiar with it than I was talking out my ass, obviously. I don't know how much he would do. And they would say, like, this is legit. Like, he's going to be in jail for, like, a long time.
Right.
He's going to be in federal prison for a long time. And as much as federal prison where he's going, isn't probably, like, the worst place on the planet, you're still locked up for, like, a couple of years. That sucks. Like, the situation was in jail. And it was, they had handball and tennis and things, but it's still a lockup.
Yes.
You still can't go, take a stroll in the woods whenever you want to. It's just that one woods on the campus.
So he's got the 40 months sentence, and he said he joked about it as an opportunity for him to lose weight. He said, "I'm going to be swole. I swear to God, I'm going to get in so much shape. Oh, God." Glenn said during an Instagram live video shortly after the sentence. That's what God say. I'm going to stop eating hamburgers. I'm going to put you in jail. You don't want to stop eating hamburgers and Cheetos? You're going to jail.
That's the reason.
So now I'm going to become The Rock.
That's the reason. You cracked the code.
Did you hear the joke at the Brady roast to Kevin Hart? They're like, it's funny because it's funny that you're best friends with The Rock because your dad was best friends with the Crack Rock.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't know that about Kevin
Well,
Hart.
neither did I, but I mean, you don't have to know for it to be mean.
Even if it's not true, it's very funny.
Yeah.
The Red Sox, by the way.
I was at the game on City. I saw Andrew Callahan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they?
I was urinating, and he had just finished urinating. He was washing his hands. We fist bumped, but I didn't know if he knew. I mean, I hadn't washed my hand because I don't wash my hands at Fenway. It's grosser to wash your hands at Fenway than it is not grosser.
Oh, yeah. So you saw him in the bathroom.
Yeah, I saw him at the bathroom. He came up to me, and he went, "Nice piece." No, he came up to me and he said hello, but he was just done washing his hands, and I said, "Hey, what's up, dude?" We hit knuckles, but he probably was feeling like, "Wow, he didn't wash his hands." And to that, I would say, "What's dirtier, my zipper or the handles of the bathroom sink at Fenway?" Those are covered in duty.
See, that's my question about so many things. Like if you ever go to a buffet and there's a bunch of like big cookies on a tray and there's a pair of tongs there, I always just take the cookie because I can touch one cookie and take the cookie off the tray. Why would I touch the tongs that everybody has touched?
Have you ever talked to a doctor about everyone using the antibacterial stuff during COVID?
No.
And like just the stuff that's in the antibacterials is terrible for you. The idea of using antibacterial stuff that much is terrible for you. Like, the misinformation we were given is very, very, very strange and very frustrating. A lot of misinformation during that time. I don't like it.
Anyway, Red Sox 2 games above 500, 21 and
I was
19
there
right now. Yeah, you were
Saturday. I saw Devers, big clutch hit, 2 outs. Saw Devers. I'll tell you, that Nationals team is full of stars. I've never seen so many stars on the field at once.
It's like a night of 1,000 stars.
Oh, I mean, there's so many guys.
Who are you most excited to see play in that game?
If you put a gun to my head and said, name one person that's on the Nationals, even though you've sat through an entire game, I couldn't tell you for sure. Rojos.
Victor Robles.
Yes, Victor Robles. Johnny Boy's going tonight.
So, yep, I have.
What about Keibert Ruiz?
I don't. Yeah, it's
catcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't know anybody on the Nationals. It's not a good team. Not a fun team to watch.
Robles ran to third base, but there was another Washington Nationals guy there, so he was tagged out. Dropped a fly ball. He had a real good day yesterday.
Well, good for him. Yeah. I'm glad that you saw it. Well, Johnny's going to be there tonight, so go say hi to him as they take on Tampa Bay. He got free tickets.
Yep.
And he's going to have Parmesan over at Tresca before.
That's right. Quick jaunt to the north end. You know where you can get a good chicken Parmesan sandwich.
Yeah, right where you find the great chicken.
You have to find the chicken Parmesan sandwich first.
You know I love my chicken parm.
Yeah.
4-minute ad for Tresca.
That's why people go to Tresca in the north end for the chicken parm.
And so I grabbed some chicken parm as you did, Brendan Burke.
And they showed a picture of him with the chicken parm. He took a picture of himself with the chicken parm. It went to an editor.
Well, people don't know what it is. When you start talking about culinary delights like that, that's beyond most people's scope and grasp.
I mean, yeah, Mom and Pa America down in Omaha, Nebraska, they don't have a north end. They don't know what
And it was a healthy dose of parm.
And a healthy dose of NDMA.
I really hope those guys call the game tomorrow night because I can't get enough of them.
And by the way, Tresca, of course, co-owner Ray Bork.
Yeah, I love Ray Bork.
Yeah.
Ray Bork, not hard to find. Just walk outside. There's Ray Bork standing there. The man gets around. You go to the jewelry place, Ray Bork's there.
Hell yeah.
You go to the
golf course.
Go to the golf course, Ray Bork's there.
Right on.
Ray Bork's everywhere. Good for him. All right, that'll do it for us. The Celtics game tonight at 7. I would imagine pregame starts at 6:30. That'll do it for us. Enjoy Zolak and Bertrand. Zoe just walked in. Bye.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
At Rockland Trust, we know listening matters. Whether you're building a family or a business,